You should be online. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Shiny Boys, session 46. We're here once again, live, coming at you all. I don't know if Max will come to the session, but I will give a quick shout out now at the very beginning to Chet and Peku on Patreon. Still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I might not be. CZEPEKU on Patreon.com. We use their maps sometimes. I don't know if we're going to be using maps this session, but there is not a 0% chance that we will. So, shout outs regardless. Also, for anybody who's been keeping up with the campaign, if you've been watching this, there will be a less of Baron around, as Quinny has real life things to take care of, and might not be able to make time for the campaign going forward from here. So if you're wondering why her name disappears from the bottom, that's why, and why she might not be appearing in many more sessions from here on. Potentially. She might come back and stuff gets sorted out, but that's the information I have at the moment. But without further ado, I'll attempt to give a recap based on Aylin's notes for last session, to make sure that I'm not reading out anything that didn't happen, because there were a lot of notes that I had written down of things that could have happened that did not end up happening, so I just want to make sure I don't accidentally go through and read any of that. So, without further ado, shoutouts to Aylin for writing these notes. Thank you very much, I appreciate you. Session 45. We pick back up in the late evening, outside one of the cities in the Kingdom of Crystal. We debate whether or not to camp outside the city, or try an inn for the night. We head into town and look around. We find a local bed and breakfast called the Dark Despair. It looks fairly inviting from the outside and is open for business. Jade goes inside to investigate further. It's nice and cozy inside, and a human woman is sleeping at the counter. And Jade notices that most of the room keys are up on the wall behind her. Jade wakes the attendant and asks why the place is called the Dark Despair. Themed rooms are the answer to that. The unthemed rooms are available, as well as the themed rooms. The unthemed rooms are available, and the themed rooms are under renovations, and the team, the Shiny Boys, opt to take the unthemed rooms. However, I'm pretty sure Avros and Baron share one of the themed rooms, which is currently under construction, which is missing a wall. Avros is displeased with this assignment, but Jade convinces him that it's worth giving a try with a very high persuasion roll. Our total for the room comes to 5 copper pieces. Avros also orders room service, which consists of water and soup of the day, and the total goes up to a crazy high tab price of 7 copper pieces. And Avros covers the sum in total, paying 2 gold, insisting that they pay to get the rooms renovated. Rooms 1 and 2 seem to be decorated to look kind of old and creepy in an over-the-top kind of way, and as Avros opens up the door to his Bowser, we see that the creepy decor is also partially inside this room as well, and the outer wall and part of the ceiling are completely open to the elements. Judy makes Avros an offer to share a room with her, but he declines, trying to prove himself for Jade's approval. Kor makes a bet with Tamar as to whether or not Avros will last the night. Druidi splits off from Tamar, Jade, and Kor as they make their way to their rooms. No watches, assuming that if something is wrong, Avros will alert us with a scream. From our rooms, we hear a muffled conversation between Avros and Baron. In both rooms, there are 2 sets of bunk beds, a large window with no curtains. I remember where that came up now. How bold of you to assume that there would be curtains inside the rooms. And a small desk with a chair on it. Druidi sets up her bedroll on the floor next to the adjoining wall. Tamar gets into one of the bottom bunks and goes right to sleep, snoring loudly. Kor is displeased with the quality of his room, so Jade suggests sleepy time chats to help Kor fall asleep. Kor rolls out of his bed, rolls onto the floor. Jade goes through his usual routine of stretches before bed. After the stretches, Jade goes to Kor for chats. Kor pulls out a massive lollipop. Jade checks in with Kor to see how he's feeling after everything that's happened with Ilaria. Average. Jade asks for more elaboration. Ilaria is alive, so we'll get her back. Jade presses for more feelings from Kor and expresses that he knows why Kor reacted the way he did, but feels like Kor didn't treat him very well. Kor asks for more elaboration, and Jade explains that Kor was a bit harsh to him. Jade wants to help and support Kor, but his feelings were a little bit hurt. He felt like it would be wrong to not say anything, and Kor asks Jade to be more specific since he tends to hurt a lot of people's feelings. Jade explains that it was during planning things. Kor called his suggestions stupid. Jade doesn't mind so much when Kor does this with other people, but he thought they would be different. Kor apologized for being harsh while he thought his mum was poisoned. That was one of the moments, but also Jade felt like he wasn't being listened to when we were in the hut, and there was talk of Baron coming out of his back. In a very literal sense of that phrase. But he felt like he could have been clear about it.
And doing just fine, except Jade wasn't fine about it, and after all, he was very uncomfortable.
He felt like it would be better to air out his feelings rather than keep them bottled up. Kor offers his apologies, but also suggests that if this hurts Jade's feelings, they probably shouldn't even be friends, since he's not really a sensitive or nice person. So he's going to take back what he said. Core adds that maybe Jade should talk to Tamar if he's interested in someone to talk to feelings about, because he's better at that. Strangely ironic, but yes, that's how it played out. Jade calls Core out as that sounding like Jade calls Core out as that sounding like if he wants someone who is going to take.
It's.
Jade calls out Core.
Yes.
As that sounds like, yeah, like
Jade wants someone.
Yes, exactly. I can't read. Core thinks that Jade wants someone who will be nice to him and treat him well, and that's Tamar, but that's not him. He's a nice person. He can be rude and doesn't think about it, but he's never thought about it. Jade wasn't going to ask Core to take back what he said. He knows why Core acted the way he did, and where those feelings came from. Jade wanted to get these feelings out in the open, so that moving forward they might be able to better understand each other. Core is a bit unsure of what to say, but he expresses that if that much upsets Jade, maybe he isn't good for Jade. He adds that he really isn't good for a lot of people and considers that maybe his purpose was just to leave Jade with someone like Tamar. Jade tells Core that he doesn't get to make that choice so one-sidedly. He doesn't get to decide what's good for Jade. Core says he can decide what's not good for Jade, but Jade isn't sure how that works. Core stands up, suggests Jade thinks about it a little bit more, and leaves the room. Jade goes out the window and climbs along the building to the opening in Baron and Aros's room. Jade sees that they've made a sort of blanket fort and catches a tidbit of their conversation before going immediately to sit outside the front door. Drita tried not to eavesdrop, but accidentally did overhear the somber tone of Core and Jade's conversation through the wall, as well as two sets of footsteps going in different ways leaving the room. Core paces the hall a bit before knocking on Drita's door. Drita lets him in, and he sets up his bedroll on the floor as well. Drita asks if everything was okay, admitting that she heard talking and then footsteps going to separate ways. Core tells her everything is fine, and he's going to sleep. Drita tells him he doesn't have to talk about it. Core wasn't gonna, and settles in with a pile of candy before bed. He tells Drita not to stare, but she just went back to bed and periodically glances over him. Core offers her some candy, and learns that she doesn't really like sweets. Pog, let's go! She's like me, I don't like sweets either. Let's go. Team no sweets. From room 2, Drita and Core hear a door slam, and Avros leaves. Drita tells Core it sounds like he's won his bet, and he'll collect on that in the morning. Drita and Core go to sleep. Avros makes his way out of the building and sees Jade outside. He asks why Jade is out there, but gets that something might have happened between him and Core. Jade asks what Avros was doing out there, and what he was doing with Baron. Avros confesses that he was playing checkers with Baron, and Baron caught him cheating, so he left. Jade warns Avros that he'll never hear the end of it if Core finds out, but Avros isn't worried. Avros changes the topic back to check in on Jade. Jade tells him he's doing alright and thanks him for this concern. Since Avros can't sleep, Jade suggests he works out until he's tired. Avros does a single burpee and lays down on the ground to go to sleep. Jade also goes to sleep outside the inn.
Wow.
Core has a dream. Core had a dream for all of us. Fellow shiny boys. As he comes to his senses in the dream world, he feels wind. He looks around and realizes he's really high up as he's halfway up a mountain and appears to be scaling it. It's fairly easy to climb, but it's quite steep. As he looks around, he notices a nice little rest point cut out of the mountain, and he's feeling pretty fatigued from climbing. Top of the mountain, he sees some silhouettes of two people far in the distance, and there's something strangely alluring about the figures. Who could they be? Core climbs up onto the ledge to the rest and gets his bearings. Core feels like he's seen these figures before at the top of the mountain, but it's been a long time. As Core continues to look around, he sees a picnic table on the ledge where he's resting. At the picnic table, he sees his friends and Ilaria. Drita's having tea, chatting with Ilaria, and they're not reacting to any absurdity. Jade is scantily dressed and Tamar is hella beefy, and they're splayed over each other with a perfect core-shaped space between them. Arrows is very goofy and dramatic. The group invites Core to join him, and the picnic table extends out to reach Core. Core looks back to the figures at the top of the mountain, which appear to just be hovering there. Core encourages Tamar and Jade to keep having a lovely time, and asks them to yeet him up the mountain.
They do.
Ilaria flails about and wishes Core luck.
About it too much.
I remember this. I love this. The part of the picnic table with Arrows, Tree, and Ilaria stretches away from Core, Jade, and Tamar, leaving them all together. This is so absurd. Wink in all caps. Core is yeeted to the top of the mountain. As Core is flying out to the top of the mountain, the blinding light from behind the figures intensifies and makes them hard to see until all Core can see is the blinding light. Blinded by the lights. He hears sounds like some...
I don't know that song.
That's the, what's it called? It's by the weekend or something, right? I think.
Oh!
Yeah.
I'm blinded by the light.
Yeah, that one! That's what I was thinking of. He hears sounds like somebody's trying to speak up, but it's muffled and pieces of the words are cutting out. Core wakes up. Dreedy wakes up in her room, in her dream world, and sees she's in her home. Having dinner with her family and everyone is chatting happily. Dreedy gets a weird feeling and the scene becomes blurry and then fades away. She reappears in a strange forest in the Feywild. She looks around and something seems off and over-exaggerated. She hears a laugh in the distance. She instinctively runs for it. Dreedy wild shapes into a Tressum to fly faster after the laughter. As she's dashing forwards, she's flung into a different scene. Looking around, she's in the giant domed room with the large portal to Orcus. I was going to say Orcus. To Orcus. It seems more intense and over-exaggerated like the forest. The portal is now dark red. Instead of Lara in the cage, Dreedy sees her family, but they look happy and relaxed like at the start of the dream. Having dinner like before, but in the cage. Dreedy also sees a younger version of herself at the table having a nice time like the rest of her family. The red whirlpool in the center of the room is roaring. Dreedy looks back at the whirlpool and spots Calarel and Zephses on the other side. Calarel seems to be in pain, and Zeph sees he's looking pretty feral and slashes into Calarel with claws, flinging him into the whirlpool. The rumbling becomes like an earthquake and a giant demonic figure emerges from the whirlpool. Dreedy rushes for Zephes to try and push him into the whirlpool. In the background, the party's cheering Dreedy on. Jade and Tamara are barely audible in their cheers while Core and Avarice have pom-poms. Zephes snarls and doesn't seem to resist, more welcoming the attack as Dreedy pushes him into the whirlpool with a triumphant smile as he falls in. The massive demon's arms rake forward and destroy everything in its path, eventually waking Dreedy as it comes into contact with her. Take another little sip here.
Sippy sip sip.
Jade wakes in his dream world. He looks around and sees the mountainous region where his temple was. He walks down the path towards his temple. The area seems more full of nature than before, with moss, rocks, and large mushrooms. As he walks forward, sunflowers turn to face him. The breeze feels different on him, and he realizes that he doesn't have the massive crack running down him anymore. Jade realizes that this must take place before it happened. Take place before the crack itself happened. And feels a sense of dread, but doesn't feel like he can escape what's to come. He keeps walking, even knowing what might happen. He comes upon his temple, and it appears to be an exaggerated version of it with fewer statues. He sees Brunz sitting and reading in the distance with his back to Jade. He looks, and Jade remembers him. Jade attempts to sneak up on Brunz, and as he gets close, Brunz closes the book and greets him, saying it's good to see him again. It's only been a few hours since Brunz has seen Jade, but he claims time flies when he's at a good book. Brunz asks how Jade's been trading, how Jade's trading has been going, and Jade's just returned from the waterfall. Brunz expresses that he wasn't expecting Jade's return so soon, puts the book down on the stack beside him, and the books in the stack all look fairly nondescript. Jade catches a brief glimpse inside the book as it closes, something odd about it, and doesn't match up with what he might expect Brunz to be reading. Jade thinks he's gotten the most out of his current training as he can. Brunz congratulates Jade on coming so far in his training, but he has much to learn. Brunz takes a deep breath and looks out into the horizon. Jade keeps waiting for more of the other statues to wake up. Brunz's voice becomes croaky as he asks if there's something Jade expects to see. His appearance also starts to go a bit off, but Jade can't quite place what's wrong with it. Brunz is wearing a calm sort of smile that puts Jade at ease. Jade expects to see change, but Brunz hasn't. But Brunz hasn't changed at all. And Jade supposes he will be the same. Brunz says to Jade, still has much to learn. The world shapes us all in strange ways. While it doesn't appear to have changed, he says that the longer stretches start to fade into smaller increments of time. Jade asks how small he is to Brunz, and Brunz says he's not small to him. Jade asks if that means, if he means that, and if he'll always mean that. He does. Never say never, but he hopes he always will. Brunz fully faces Jade, and Jade sees that bits of him are starting to flake off like he's slowly turning to sand. Brunz reaches out to touch Jade, but Jade stops him with his bow before Brunz can touch him. I thought I said it for a second. I misread that as Jade stops him with his bro. Jade's like, yo, bro, come here. We gotta stop this guy. Brunz withdraws his hand.
Bro, help me get this man.
Continues to flake away. Brunz tells Jade he hopes Jade will be able to look back on these times that they had and move past them. Dwelling on the past is not healthy for anyone, and although there may be events and situations which catalyze the development, as his training will hopefully do for Jade, do not dwell. Jade knows one way not to dwell and whacks through Brunz. Brunz crumbles in half, his calm smile and his lifeless body as it blows away. Jade promises to take back what Brunz took. Jade picks up the book to look through it and slowly starts turning to sand as well. There's a rumbling beneath Jade's feet. Jade opens the book and sees images of his memories at the party. Jade's memory of Dreedy is just her blooming. Jade's memory of Core has a memory of them together, but they're standing pages away and pages and pages apart. Jade is looking towards Core while Core is looking away. Dramatic. Avros is full of cake, and Tamara is sitting next to Jade, kind of close but not quite touching. On the last page of the book, there's an image that doesn't resemble anything in Jade's memory. It's of Brunz walking away in the distance. Jade feels like what's being cropped out of the picture is him lying and broken on the ground. He closes the book as the rumbling of the ground intensifies and the book disintegrates to sand. From high up in the mountains, a large D12-shaped boulder is rolling down the mountains towards Jade. Jade jumps onto the boulder and runs the boulder down. The boulder creates destruction in its wake, destroying statues in its path, and Jade sees that they're all statues of him wearing the clothes of the other statues there. The boulder continues until it destroys the temple and the books and everything in its path. Jade stays on the boulder, and the scenery changes and becomes unfamiliar. It rolls over hills and through trees that part around it. It goes down and down and down until it rolls into a dark void. Jade jumps off the boulder as it flies into the void. He hits a wall and falls down into the darkness. He feels himself crack at the bottom upon impact. The pinhole of light above him shrinks until it's just darkness. He wakes up. We all wake up early in the morning after all of our dreams. We smell the morning soup, and so Jade wakes up Avarice for his soup as well. Avarice says he didn't sleep well and had a nightmare about cake. Jade and Avarice go in and find a bunch of bowls of lentil soup set out. And I'm going to try to summarize this end part more briefly. Tamara walks out of his room and runs into Jade.
Reduce Lily's lentil disgust.
We'll have a chat together.
Yeah, we do.
At the table, we'll kind of catch up. We begin eating. They're kind of cute and awkward. Discussions happen. Jade goes to knock on the door where Core and Drudy are. Core jumps behind Drudy, says he's not there, and hides behind her hair. Drudy tells him that it's open, and Jade enters to see Core's better on the roll, as well as a mysterious glowing behind her. Jade asks Core, and Drudy invites him to stay for breakfast, making him an orange. She offers to go, and he could stay, but Jade thanks her for the orange, and asks her to pass on a message to Core that he wants to talk to him when Core has the time. Drudy pokes Core in the side with her tail, poke, but he pretends to be examining a strawberry. She tells him this is the opposite of taking out his problems. Core just looks at Drudy with faux innocence, and after a few seconds of waiting, Jade leaves. Drudy continues to stare at Core, and he makes eye contact. He makes his eyes all big and sparkly, claims nothing is wrong. They have a more of an interaction. Core and Drudy have a moment to talk to each other before I think they eventually make their way back to the others. Jade is waiting outside in the corridor, trying not to eavesdrop. Aros knocks on the door with a bowl of soup. Jade informs him that Core doesn't like lentils. Core likes sweets or fancy foods. Aros considers maybe Drudy might want the lentils, but when he goes to slide the ball into the door, he drops it, shattering the bowl, making a big mess, and then it starts to seep under the floor. And that is just a mess that ends up getting cleaned up a little bit later.
Yeah.
Let's see, hold on. Core attempts to message Arya for Drudy. The message's tone sounds very earnest and honest without anything hinky going on. And Arya sounds very calm and collected, though a bit busy. Core delivers the message. Drudy begins momentarily stress blooming until Core tells her that you can check him periodically. The message that is sent to Arya is... Sorry. Alaria. No, this was to Arya, I think, to Drudy's sister. So the message that is sent to her is, I'm in the Kingdom of Crystal, where are you? From Drudy via her good friend Core. The reply is, Dear sister, I'm on the plane of water. I'll be back soon. And then we all go downstairs and have a nibble and a little bit of a... We begin our chats for the day. And I think... I don't think anything else super important happened there, but we're all there back together, except for Baron, as we all reconvene at the bottom of the stairs, having some nice soup. Well, Tomar's the only one eating the soup, but we're all there again. Thank you very much, Ellie, for the notes. Appreciate you. So, we are all well fed. Well, actually, I don't know who's well fed, because not everybody ate. But, for those of you who ate, you're well fed, and you're there, now at the table again. Tamar is scuffing down his bowl of soup, and you're looking around, and one of the things that you notice at this point, while everybody's reconvened back together, is that, strangely, and maybe suspiciously, Baron has not returned from the upstairs room.
Maybe another mimic ate him.
Completely ignoring that fact, Jade is going to, just every now and again, his eyes are darting over to see whether Core is eating the candy which he left for him.
Core he is eating it. He has taken the bait.
He looks at his soup.
Lentils smell.
I think they smell pretty good. Avros looks at Tamar as he says that. That explains a lot about the way you smell, Tamar. Tamar just looks shyly back into his bowl as he continues eating.
We can get you a breath mint.
Thanks. Tamara looks between the two of you. You two, Jade, Core. How are you both looking at the moment?
Jade looks like he hasn't slept very well.
Okay.
No.
Core.
His jade is a little dusty.
Core looks sly.
He addresses kind of the two of you as he makes his next question. Did something happen between the two of you at night?
Jealous.
I think he chuckles at that. I think Tamar would a little bit. Avarice would a little bit as well. I mean, well. And then he blushes as well. Okay, I'm sorry for asking. He just goes back to his soup.
I think Drini's gonna kind of like get up. She like with her like apple and like knife that she's been eating. She's just gonna kind of link arms with Avros and be like, I think we should go for a morning stroll, don't you?
That sounds like a rather fabulous idea. I want to get away from these smelly lentils as fast as I can. Oh, by the way, Baron ran away at night. So you might know. Deal with that information as you will. I'll be outside with Dree.
A devastating one. Core looks at Dreedy with betrayal. He's just like sneaky.
All right, let us make haste. And he begins walking away with you to the outdoors.
Yeah.
All right. So as Dreedy and Avarice leave, it is now just the three of you remaining. Tamara looks awkwardly between the two of you. And he looks back at Court, so we're trying to be jealous about what happened.
Dreedy set this all up. I will not become a cog in the works of her plan.
Actually, it was Tamar's statement of, so what did I miss? When Drini's like, no.
What did I miss?
Yeah.
He just slowly, like, jazz hands out of frame. Jade will just kind of, like, push the repulsive soup away.
Tamar will take the repulsive soup from you. Thank you. I appreciate that, actually.
I feel like we might have already done this, but he gets more now.
I have a fourth bowl now. This is I quite like these lentils for some reason. I don't know. They're just like small and green, and I feel like in some way I kind of relate.
Core tips over one of the bowls. Oops.
No, I should no. I'll be right back. I'll probably clean that.
No, let me assist you. Jade will stand up.
Cora, hold on a moment, Mister. Okay, I think you should help us out with cleaning that bowl that you just purposefully spilled in front of us.
I didn't spill a bowl of lentils. That wasn't me.
Don't gaslight him, Core.
I don't gaslight him where it counts.
Where it counts. Just spills the bowl. Like I didn't do that. Core. I did.
That's my name.
I'm fairly certain that I just, not even 2 seconds ago, very clearly witnessed you take your hand, grab the bowl, change its orientation such that the lentils exited the bowl.
How scientific are you?
Do you deny any of these claims?
Ooh,
Your Honor, I saw this man tip the bowl.
Wait, is Tamar ratting him out?
He's asking. He's like, Core, I just saw you spill that bowl. I'm pretty sure.
What are you going to do if I did?
I'm going to ask you about it, with a glaring intensity to hopefully intimidate you into wanting to help us clean it up.
You're going to intimidate me.
Yes.
Try it.
Okay. He turns to Jade. Okay, Jade, do you have any pointers?
I am not intimidating.
That's exactly what an intimidating person would say. I like that.
I think you'll find that I am the most intimidating one here, and I only stand 5 feet off the ground, so that's on you, gentlemen.
Okay.
He picks up not a bottle of beer.
Well, okay, if you don't want to help me clean it, then I will be a little bit sad. And then you'll feel guilty for making me feel sad, won't you?
Sad about me spilling a bowl of lentils that you had to clean up.
You know what? I don't care about this lentil bowl anyway. They can clean it up. We have other matters to discuss.
Okay.
Jade is like Not saying anything.
I will approach this differently. Jade, what happened last night?
He looks at Core.
Tamar also looks at Core.
Um,
And looks back at Jade.
we had a falling out.
Jay thinks I'm mean.
He's not wrong. But what specifically happened?
Well, I understand why, Core, you were upset because of Ilaria's acting out and then handling the body and all of that. Medusa. And it's all a bit of a haze now. I'm not very well rested. But, you know, this is too much trouble. It's fine.
No, not at all. That's why we're here. Trouble is my middle name. Not really, it's not actually. That was just a joke.
I don't think you have a middle name.
I don't know if I do.
I don't. I'm named after what I am. I don't know if that even really counts as a name.
I
would
don't even
say
know
that
my
is.
last name.
We're all a bit weird, aren't we?
In our own
Well,
ways.
that's beside the point.
I think for this, to really test the waters with this relationship to see if it'll work. And Tamar looks at both of you. Regardless of what happens, I think we should at least all be transparent with our feelings towards each other within at least this little group of just us three. Regardless of what other people might think, that's not interesting to me. I'm just concerned with how you're both feeling in it. So if
I am
something's
feeling
happened-
like I will clean the lentils.
Let's not focus on the lentils at the moment. I actually, to be completely honest, I completely forgot that those lentils were spilled.
Yeah, but they actually smell really bad, so Core clicks and they vanish.
How did you could just clean that? I have
It
so many
has
questions.
magic.
Okay, all right, that's
Yesterday I had the same thought, and I don't want to blame anyone for acting in a way I can understand. The way I might act myself. But I'm not. It didn't seem right to hide my feelings.
of course. I think.
So I just said them.
Mhm.
But if that's. You have to understand, I've not really lived in society my whole life. And I don't understand.
We live in a society.
Don't worry, I have not been very great at living
Really?
in society myself either, and I've lived in society for a while. Society is a bit strange and confusing.
I feel like you are still in a strata above my comprehension. Some things that make sense to people don't make sense to me, and relationships are one of them, and I just kind of have to go off of what I see. And if what I see is not talking about feelings, then I won't talk about feelings, and if that works, then I guess that's the way things are supposed to be. But I just noticed often that you two, when it was just you two, would go off together and talk about things when you had difficulties. And so I was trying to do that.
Well,
But if that's not how it's supposed to work for us, then I guess I can do something different instead. I don't mind. I'd rather just... I just don't want to... I don't want to break up. Again.
Oh,
I've already been physically broken in pieces.
Okay, I have to get back in character.
And I'd rather to stay.
Core looks horrified when Shade's. He's like,
Tamar looks a bit scared as well, and tries hold your shoulders to push you back together. Don't worry, I won't let you break.
I am made. That's.
it was a metaphor.
Okay. Yes.
It also was actually real. I was cleft down the center, and you're the one who put me back together. And I don't want. And I want. The metaphor is now us. Like my physical form, I do not want us to shatter from forehead down to the lower rib cage.
At this point,
That does sound quite painful.
after listening to you, Jade, Tamar turns to Core and says, "The two of you both warm my heart very much." And he turns back to you, Jade, as well, and back to Core. I don't want to see either of you break up like this as well. I think we can work from here. With regards to what you said, Jade, I have two points that I think I've learned recently or over time, and that's that while it seems like recently Cora and I have had moments where we've talked about our feelings, I think that's as a result of a lot of problems that have accumulated over very many years of having not discussed those feelings and dodging them entirely. So I would certainly advise from personal experience that shutting your feelings inside and letting them stew until they start to
We'll
smell
give you a 10-year relationship.
will not
Results in mass robbery.
will result in a lot of stress. I think
I own that.
the key takeaway is that I think if you really are invested in someone and you really do truly have feelings for them very strongly inside, deep inside in your heart and stomach, where they make you feel like you're butterflies, that the
Precisely.
relationship will probably survive that sort of turmoil. However, keeping your feelings locked inside will create an unnecessary amount of turbulence and cause a lot of stress.
That was very insightful.
What do you think about that, Core? Could you maybe...
Just
Okay.
I can't hear anything, I think.
I hear a zoom,
I heard like a...
but it's gone now.
is it ready back?
Oh,
Broom, broom.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
in
that was
my
my
mum's car.
last brain cell leaving. I apologize. So what I am understanding is
That
this.
sounded scary.
Core, you were, I guess, let's say maybe acted in an insensitive way and made a very harsh comment towards Jade. And Jade, you feel...
I could have said something a lot worse, but I only used the word. Did I use the word stupid?
I think I wrote it down, but I don't remember exactly.
Jade pulls out his list of insults from Cork. Was like, I didn't say that.
I don't have my notebook here.
Regardless, I have personally gone to therapy as a result of the turmoil that I was in, as a result of personal problems. And one thing I've realized is that it's important to talk about... That was my therapist leaving the building.
There's a small fly.
It's important to talk about less so what happened specifically, but what certain actions made you feel and how you felt as a result of those actions, and also what the person who did those things actually meant to do or say. So I guess, Core, I'm sure you don't actually think that Jade is stupid.
No.
So I would say in that case, in order to reflect that idea of Jade more closely, we should avoid insults like "you're stupid" or variants of that to any degree.
Sorry. Good.
So long as you don't actually feel that way about Jade.
I don't think Jade's stupid. I think the decisions people make can be stupid.
I know that. And I know there's a distinction. But I personally, from having had many of my decisions be called extremely stupid and ignorant and
They
arrogant,
usually are, yeah.
um,
Sorry.
I think those can be internalized as feelings of inadequacy. For example, if I say, this thing you did is stupid, then that could convey an implication of, well, only a stupid person would make that kind of a decision. And it seems to me
Yes.
like that's how Jade is feeling.
Understood.
Yes, I think I have another example. I didn't. Tell me if I'm reading this wrong. For example, when the only family I'd ever known in my entire life raised me alongside and trained me, and then cleft me from forehead to lower left rib cage. I think I internalized. Sorry.
Tomorrow's concerned, but acknowledges.
Core blinks.
So I
Cool. Can I rephrase what I meant?
Yes.
So that... Okay.
Mm.
Jade. I thought... No, not stupid. I thought that when my mother, foster mother, was lying poisoned on the road and you wanted to move her and find somewhere safe, I was in a state of panic where I thought that urgency would be the better course of action. And therefore, when I am in that state, I say mean things. Yes.
And so, going forwards, what should we do? Because that made me sad.
Okay. And so going forwards, if I am panicked, I'm lost. What comes next? You went to therapy.
Well, from what I've understood is that in any relationship there can be a sort of compromise or middle ground, which is a new concept to me. But the way I understand it is that there's a sort of sweet spot that we can maybe meet in the middle. So maybe there's a concession in those situations that both or all parties can make. In terms of Jade, maybe I
Don't
guess
say stupid things.
think Cora. Let's not get into. Let's keep this civil. He pats Cora on the shoulder and pats Jade on the shoulder as well. I understand how you feel,
Trying.
Cora. You are trying. I appreciate that. I think understanding where Cora is coming from in those emotionally intensive situations
I do.
is important context. I guess in order to.
I said last night that I
Yes.
didn't want him to take back. I don't want you to take back what you said, and I wouldn't hold it against you. If maybe we could, if that kind of thing happens again, you could just come and clarify whether you meant what you said or not. And maybe if you said something hurtful, you could apologize.
Let me rephrase. You know how you called Tamar like incompetent all the time, and you don't really think he's incompetent as a person. It's just the things he was doing were incompetent. That's how I feel when people do stupid things. I don't always think the person is stupid. I think Baron's stupid, but that's a completely different topic. I think sometimes people do stupid things, and most of the time I don't pay attention to that because I think it's quite funny. Stupidity causes chaos, and I love that. But sometimes when it's my foster mother on the line, I do care a little bit. And
I know, and that's. I wasn't saying I don't want you to care. And you can say whatever you need to say to exercise those emotions. But just if you hurt someone's feelings, maybe talking to them about it afterwards could be a good course of action, just to make sure everyone's okay, and so that you can explain yourself.
explain myself.
Well, I had to deduce that you were stressed and distressed from just how you were acting in the situation, and I'm not very good at that.
I think having these kinds of discussions is beneficial. I also just like any excuse to talk to the two of you a little bit more. So I like this kind of time we have together.
Yeah,
You are
smooth.
okay. Also, Tamar,
Yes.
we don't really do this anymore. But,
Do what anymore?
when I called you incompetent, it was because I genuinely did not see your benefits.
I know that
However,
those did hurt
in-
at the time, but I
I
understood.
apologize for hurting your feelings
Thank
and
you.
saying that. I should have realized that you have many accomplishments and things that you can do. For example, cooking.
I do quite enjoy cooking.
Can you make less lentil-based foods though?
I believe this was a continental breakfast of some kind.
I didn't personally cook this. I just like these lentils, but I can incorporate less, maybe fewer lentils.
Maybe more baked goods.
Make more baked goods. I can certainly do that.
Yeah, I think this is a really constructive meeting, actually.
Yeah.
I would like to request that we have, like, a cake at least once a week.
I bought you a cake.
Yes, and I very
diamond
much
in it.
enjoyed it, but now it's gone.
Certainly. I think this is productive, but also, Core. So, you see how, in this situation, Jade apologized for a comment that Jade made to me that made me feel a little bit bad, and now I feel a little bit better. We're in a better
I
place.
don't think you're incompetent.
Thank you. I think that's still debatable, but I appreciate the sentiment regardless. I think one thing to learn maybe is that even a small apology can go a long way.
Core just looks up with big eyes at both of them.
He looks at Jade. I think we're making progress.
Okay.
Baby steps.
So, do you have anything you want to say, or would you like me to go first?
I think the cake idea is really good.
Okay, I can buy another cake, but I guess I will start. Cool. I think this conversation has been good for us. If there's ever been anything I've said to hurt your feelings in the past, I apologize.
Very hard to hurt my feelings. Anyway.
And I know yesterday was hard for you. Thank you for listening to me and giving me the time to speak. Is that good? He looks at Tamar.
I think so. He nods vigorously.
Driti is by the window, just like pulling seeds out of the middle of flowers and just like eating the pollen. Like,
if Judy and Avarice were actually just like watching from the window, still like.
Driti is not eavesdropping. She is taken Avros.
She's very far away doing it.
I'm gonna say if Vedridi had wanted to eavesdrop, Avarice would have been very easily swayed.
Yeah. No, I feel like Avros is probably like, yes, eavesdrop, and Driti's like, nope, strong arms him away from the window.
Suddenly curious about the origins of the word eavesdrop. I have an idea. But
I ain't dropping no eaves, sir.
what if they're like...
It's gonna come from somewhere.
Eavesdrop started off literally. First it referred to the water that fell from the eaves of a house. I thought it had something to do with eaves. Then it came to mean ground. It came to mean the ground where that water fell. Oh, okay. Eventually, eavesdropper described someone who stood within the eavesdrop of a house to overhear a conversation.
Oh, that's really fascinating. That's cool. That is some cool world lore right there.
Neat. That's all. Sorry, I interrupted the game.
No, that was
Jade,
fun.
Jade looks at Tamar and after getting his confirmation looks at Core.
Understood.
Tamara looks at Cor eagerly. We still have a long way to go, I think. But we're making steps. We're making strides.
If either of you have your feelings hurt by me, you can submit a formal complaint and I'll have Drudy vet them. And then I'll go through the ones that she thinks matter.
I think I'm gonna go for a walk.
I will finish eating my bowls of lentils.
Okay.
For the time being. I think this was good. I think we should have more of these discussions. To understand each other, at the very least.
Of course. Of course. Now, for my solitary, half-nude run that I take every morning, and I get very sweaty. Jade leaves, and you just hear, you see his shirt just like thrown off.
Before you leave, he's gonna give you a pat on the shoulder. Maybe slightly too firmly, and Cora as well. He's gonna give you a pat on the shoulder too.
That was just a reference to Core's dream. I'm sorry it came off wrong. But like...
Core's like, I think he's trying to seduce us.
Is he? And with that, we will switch over now to the troublesome duo, the dubious duo, walking around outside, causing havoc, wreaking mayhem, stealing the hearts and minds of the next generation. Hello, Rodri. Rodri, you're here. Is there any place you're going? You are outside, and Avarice is with you, and he takes a deep inhale.
They're
It
just
feels
going
great.
for a stroll, and Driti is keeping him out of trouble
Oh, look at
by
that!
force if necessary.
Oh, I understand how this is. Well, it's better to be locked to Rodri than to be pressured into doing burpees all day. This is quite nice.
He loves burpees with...
He hates
I mean,
exercise.
It's a bonding time for them.
It is.
If you would prefer to exercise with Jade,
I would prefer not to
turn
exercise.
us around.
Maybe. I think there's maybe some sort of compromise we could make. Rodri, how have you been feeling? I feel like we haven't had a one-on-one in quite a while now.
Ever. I was quite happy with that, but they needed a minute.
That's fair. Quite happy with... yes, that's understandable. It's fair. How have you been?
Anyway,
Yes.
how are you doing, Evros?
Yeah. We're doing all right. Having a good time. I feel a bit intimidated by your general presence. So there's that. Felt like I should just be honest with that. As I'm currently crumbling under that pressure. But you seem like a very well-meaning and lovely individual, and you care a lot about our fellow adventurers. So I do appreciate that, and you've done a lot for them, I think. I think recently I've been feeling a little bit less maybe directly involved as I might have been in the past. Not so much in terms of my actions necessarily, but where my heart is. I'm a wandering spirit at heart. I can't be tied down to one place too long. Unless it's lavish and luxurious, which this place is certainly not.
No, it is definitely not. But that is still the question. You wish to leave.
Was it really so obvious? I don't know if I necessarily wish to leave, but I don't think I'm cut out for this sort of adventure. Maybe.
You seem a little quick to have the nerves.
Yes, I think that's probably... yeah. Yes, I think you're right on the money there. Right on the nerves and the money, of which there is not quite enough of to keep me incentivized to keep wanting to adventure. This may sound like maybe this is not a great point to have as a character, necessarily, but I am, in a sense, quite materialistic, and that does motivate me quite a bit, but I feel like that a lot of these...
You are very monetarily equipped.
Yes.
How,
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed my... You noticed the, my large wallet? Yes. What about it?
Less the large wallet, more the big spending.
No, it's bad because it goes hand in hand, but yes.
How did you, if you are not doing the adventuring, what is your secret?
My charm and my good looks, what can I say? It just comes to me. But, what about you? What do you do outside of adventuring?
Also, just to clarify, Trudy said, you're a widower.
A widower? I'm not a widower, no.
That's law.
That is, not necessarily the case. What gave you that impression?
I just assumed that you had inherited it.
Oh. How bold of you to assume that I inherited my millions of... Well, I don't know if I have that much, necessarily, but I'm a hard-working individual, I'm sure you've noticed. I've worked very hard.
No.
Harder than most, in fact. In all my endeavors.
Quite the opposite of the working and the hard.
Well, you know how one goes about collecting money. You go out into the world and work hard and endeavor to strive for riches, which is what I've done in my years as a living being in the world. Done a lot of work, and hard work at that too. It's been the hardest of work you could imagine. Hard work and multiply that by 2. That's the kind of work I've been involved in. But it's all quite personal and
Evros, you're... What is the word? Full of the fudge? Full of the bullshit.
Yes, that's okay. Look, yeah, I have done work, in my life.
What
about you? What have you done? In your life, Virginia. Tell me enough about me. I feel like I'm talking about myself for eons now. It's quite embarrassing, really. Tell me a bit about yourself.
She just kind of tightens her grip on Avros's arm just a little bit.
Oh, my thumb feels tingly for GT. Well, that's... Why do you ask? Necessarily.
Just curious. Also, you know what I do. I do the healing, the medic.
Yes, of course. Right. I have dabbled in medicine myself.
Yes.
A little bit. I went to a day of... Well, I went to a cleric school. For at least one day. Equal to or greater than 1 day of school. It was nice. It was a good day.
What is your expertise in that?
Oh, yeah. Healing.
Anytime he seems really like evasive, she just kind of like, digs in a little bit.
Oh, I didn't. Look, I wasn't there for an extensive period of time. I didn't, graduate necessarily after the years of training that one might normally be put through. But I did learn how to, healing word and all that. I did learn that a little bit. I can't feel my left arm.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't know if I can healing word my way out of this.
Probably not. You cannot evade.
I think you would know better than I would. Maybe you should teach me some time for treaty. More healing. I'm always down to learn more.
Yes, you were telling us about your business.
Yeah, my businesses, plural, are very extensive and far-reaching. Around the world, I've been to Capital, I've been to the Feywild, with all of you, and I've been around the world.
This gives me Aladdin trying to find a Bois on the map vibes. It exists. It's north, south. It's right here.
Okay, let me.
Yeah,
let
you
me
have a team to get him out of trouble, though.
let me. Verdri, how about I ask you a question in that case? In response to your question, let me answer with another question. If you had to.
That is the opposite of answering the question. So, answered questions.
It will. I promise that it will lead to an answer to a question that one might ask. If you were to guess, just based on my appearance, what you think I might have been mostly involved in my years as an aspiring entrepreneur, what kind of business do you think I would be involved in myself?
I have an inkling that it was crime, but
I have been known to
Drugs.
Neff, I can't believe you brought cocaine. I've heard it increases your focus.
Neff science.
Neff science.
Ah!
There's a
Right, canon. Neff believes in all the old wives' tales, which are like, if you have an apple a day, the doctor won't. You won't need to see the doctor ever, and then everyone just like dies of disease. She still believes in bloodletting.
Bloodletting. I have tried it myself, and it seems like it has mixed results.
Drilling a hole in your skull to relieve pressure.
She would, wouldn't she? Oh my god.
I tried it on myself, and I think the results have been great. They speak for themselves.
I feel like a whole new person.
Well, okay, Rodriguez, I can at least assure you that the crime I've been involved in has been quite magnificent and fabulous in every conceivable way. What kind of crimes do you think I've committed?
Oh, okay.
I've been in many a heist.
Yes, I
Amazing.
severely doubt that. It's probably something like embezzlement.
Oh, that's not quite as fantastical as I thought.
You seem to, over elaborate your things, and I think Core might have a type.
That's it's hard to say, really. I thought that as much that too, but Core's taste seems to be a very eclectic mix of interesting individuals. I don't know what he sees in Tamar, that buffoon, but I can at least appreciate Jade somewhat. I have a hard time wrapping my head around Tamar, though. That is quite strange. I do not understand that at all. It's ridiculous. That's not for me to discuss. Neither here nor there.
What's so ridiculous about Tomar?
I don't understand what he has. He doesn't have much money. He has nothing to his name. Not to say that I necessarily do. He's not the. Look, I don't know how you feel about him necessarily, but he's not the greatest looking individual, personally.
At this point, I think if you're within view of the house, Jade just comes out of the front door and starts taking off his shirts and jogging.
Oh my god. See, Brigitte, this is what I can completely understand what Cora could see in Jade. I can admire that from afar.
Or you could admire it up close if you would like to join him for a jog.
No. He's going to make me jog as well, and I'm going to have to do burpees and wear weight or something like that. This is not worth it for me.
Also, Drudy is just kind of enjoying frazzling the fuck out of Ambrose.
I don't like talking about the origins of my riches, if you like to call them, necessarily. It's kind of embarrassing. Been involved in some things. But no criminal activity, personally. I just don't like talking about it too much.
She just kind of stares at him.
Look, there are all sorts of work out there, and it's respectable in every way. And, the types of work that some people might engage in are not quite looked upon as so grand by other people in society, necessarily, even if they can make quite a fortune off of that type of work.
She stares at him just a little bit.
Roll for me.
Insight?
Intimidation,
Insight?
yeah. Intimidation.
Since I've been working on the intimidation this whole time, can I negotiate an advantage?
You know what? Since you've been chatting him up this whole time, go for it.
Okay. Just because there's no bonus.
This is gonna be a high roll if you figure out this secret that I don't think even Core would know.
Praise RNGesus. That's a flat 18.
Flat 18. Okay.
Versus a 5.
Okay. I have had some connections in the past, and I have come into a lot of money very quickly. Now, you can't tell any of the group about this. It's a secret. I put this behind me. And I don't want anyone to know about it. But I used to live elsewhere, and I knew a member of the royal family who hired me for my services when I was working as a dominatrix.
Oh.
But those years are behind me now.
I mean, even if they weren't, there's no shame in that.
That's maybe necessary, but it's it's a political matter as well. It's a royal family. I can't really talk much about it, but I was.
Okay, but here's my question: why would you go out of your way to try and piss them off after they hire you and pay you very well?
I think you might have the wrong idea. Look, personally, I have my own inclinations. I am not someone who is necessarily one to offer my services or one to have had my services be offered to. Dragonborn, personally, I was always a little bit afraid and intimidated by that concept. So that is, the capital royal family has nothing to do with any of that. I have since moved. But I will not elaborate any further. Too much of my past has been...
Is making.
He looks around for a moment. Tracy, what have you done to me?
What did you say? What did you say, Aelin? Sorry?
I said that you were making the same face that I am making internally. Trying to keep composure for Drady, because he was just like stoic the whole time, just like, oh yes, okay.
But needless to say, I was that work helped set me up for a good amount of time, and I have been comfortably living elsewhere since.
Yeah.
And I think you for the first time you kind of see his facade kind of drop a little bit in the time that he's talked with you in this, and when he's been with you in the party, outside of serious conversations about core and that sort of thing. He's just sort of smiling awkwardly like a kid who just presented a book report on a book he hadn't read in front of the class, hoping that the teacher believes him.
Lily didn't hear any of that, Thomas, and I really need you to figure that out.
That's up to you guys to figure out how Cora might figure out that information as you both return slowly to the house.
Thomas, if you don't make this work, I'm going to be single very soon. I want to tell her. Can I tell her, please?
Tell her what?
No!
You can just say whatever you can divulge as much information as you like. You know what, Jade? If you went for a run, I'll tell you what. Actually, for this end of the conversation,
Wait, no, yeah, this works.
I've got an idea to make this work in game.
Okay, I have an idea. Can I ask? Would Jade have maybe heard that last bit if he had done laps?
If you were doing laps, I'm gonna get you to roll a perception check on that. Roll it for me. Just roll it straight, and depending on the roll, I'll tell you how much information you've gotten.
Oh no! It's really bad.
How much? How about
That was a good modifier.
Perception. It's 10.
10? Okay. I think
just maybe hear the word.
all you would hear maybe from that amount of conversation, because you wouldn't get much information. I think you would still hear a little bit because he
Okay.
went into a panic. You would hear maybe something like "My riches, I was a dominatrix," and that's it.
Okay, Jade immediately will go inside and be like to Core. Sorry to cut off a conversation, just so that Lily knows this information. He'll immediately walk inside and say, fully half dressed, glistening. What is a dominatrix?
Tamara looks at you and he drops his spoon.
I think we need to come outside right now and listen to the conversation that is happening because I don't know what a dominatrix is and I need more information.
Please don't tell me you're becoming a dominatrix, Jade.
Is it a kind of monster or a monk class?
You could say it's a kind of monster in a way, but
Quick, let's go, let's listen to what's happening.
you walk outside.
I leave them both outside. I just point to the
Everyone just turns around as you guys walk outside.
Jade is like in the corner, like.
He does
Hey,
a point back at you like the Spider-Man meme where he's like,
But except, Jade isn't a dominatrix.
how did I tangle my thing around the chair? What did I just do?
Yet.
Thomas, how much do I know about Everest's backstory?
This part that he came up with, or well, that he just divulged, this is something you actually wouldn't know, that he's kept hidden, that he hasn't ever been pressured to reveal, but it's to do with one of the origins of his many riches.
Okay, Core just storms in. Who's a dominatrix?
Drini kind of like holds onto his arm a little bit.
Avros looks like he's about to melt into the floor. That's a grand question, Core.
Oh, Avros, you know you want to talk.
I do.
Can I roll a persuasion?
Of all the things I want to do, talking is not one of them. Roll it with disadvantage.
Okay. Let me just get my dice out. Where is my... Hold on. Persuasion?
Some secret Avros lore.
With disadvantage, it's a 23.
What?
I rolled an 18 and a 17.
I have a feeling that if I attempt to avoid this, I will be unsuccessful.
There is no running, Avros.
Yes, but my arm is, I think, probably a dead limb now. Thanks to you, Vajriti. I don't think I'll be running anywhere.
Won't be performing any dominatrix duties either.
Cora, I'm not a dominatrix. Where did you hear this information?
I mean,
Jade.
I was just doing my crunches.
Oh, you must have overheard me, partially. What I was saying was that...
I heard my riches, blah 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 blah. I'm a dominatrix.
Yes, that was the end of one conversation, and the beginning of another. I was mentioning, I love my riches. I would love to donate to the foundation of dominatrixes because I think
Come
that
on, Avros.
job is
Spit it
admirable.
out.
There's nothing to spit. What do you think the context of that conversation could have possibly been?
Well, you see, you do have a large painting of you and Core. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. It's very old now.
I don't know what he's so shy about. I mean, I've experienced these things.
Well, yes, but that's... Yeah, well, I won't go into that for everyone's sake here at the moment.
Yeah, Tamar might punt you.
Tamar's looking like confused at this point, like
No, where is it?
he rolls up his non-existent sleeves before he realizes he's not wearing a long sleeve shirt. Do I have to punt somebody?
Oh, that's kind of cute. Oh no.
But yes, the painting, of course. It's a grand work of art. I do cherish that painting very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I earn a suspicious amount
of.
Whoops, sorry.
I was just going to say the painting of the person you're no longer in a partnership with, but in fact we are in a partnership with now.
Yes, it's not strange in the slightest when you put it that way.
Is it not?
It is very, very awkward, actually, and intensely so. That was his sarcasm to the highest degree. I am extremely uncomfortable at this point in every inconceivable way, both physically as he looks to his dying arm, and psychologically too.
I found
He's
it.
not doing anything to like kill his arms.
No, he's just being a drama queen.
I found it, guys.
Oh, oh my god.
Oh, Hisashi Buri!
Jay's just like,
The A! Oh my god. He wasn't the one doing any dominating in that.
That's true.
Maybe I
Just
did.
the perfectly placed Jade as well.
Perfectly placed Jade. I love that picture. This picture is great.
Wait, and then
The two-parter.
oh,
Yes.
little did he know.
Oh my god.
Little did he know.
Little did you know.
Avros, you need to put these puzzle pieces together for us.
I have not been one to put puzzles.
Okay, I can do this because I have some intelligence.
Go for it, Jade.
So here is my belief. Remember, I don't know what a dominatrix is. I do believe that you were one, and you were just admitting that to Driti. And for whatever this service is that you provide, you were making your riches off of it.
Could have
Driti,
given you that idea.
What you've been hearing so far?
Trudy, does that sound right?
Trudy just kind of like looks at Avros like,
He shakes his head vigorously.
Avros, what does a dominatrix do?
What does a dominatrix do? Well, a dominatrix, I think, is an under... No, I don't know. I haven't
think
done any
dominatrix.
dominating.
I think you're a dominatrix.
I've done a dominatrix.
Cole, what do you think that Avros is?
Well, I'm surprised he's the dominatrix, not sub.
Exactly. So yeah, Cora would be able to vouch for me.
I could see his potential.
Don't say that! Okay.
Avros, I think the jig is up.
The chick. Alright,
Confess
Virtusi,
The bag is empty.
I'll tell you what. I will offer you I'll meet you halfway. I will offer you a compromise. A two-way street we shall meet upon, under the spotlight of the moonlit sky. If you release me from your grip, I shall divulge everything. Virtusi, please.
If I release you,
Mhm.
Jade is going to have to chase you down.
Wait,
And as you know,
I know, which
Jade's
is-
statues are natural sprinters.
That is why I would be a fool to attempt to run away.
can I cast a snare sneakily right behind Avros?
You can if
And
you
Jade's
like.
also going to prepare a dash,
Okay.
a grapple or something to grab him.
Drudy lets him go.
Oh, thank you, Virtuti, for letting go of my arm. I just want you to know that he begins running away.
Wait, okay, can I make a
He's
dexterity?
gonna step into the snare as soon as he turns around because it's a 5-foot cube.
Really? Okay, he is immediately ensnared. Ah!
I think Jade will dance up into the tree and just hover over the release and just like wait.
So he's just hanging
All
upside
goes in
down now.
stands by Avros.
Drudy just kind of chuckles like, told you so.
Gives him a little swing.
I know it may have appeared that I was attempting to run away, and I can assure you that is exactly what I was attempting to do.
Core sticks his lollipop right on Avros's forehead.
Oh, no, it's uncomfortable! Stop! This is like torture! Stop! Okay. I used to help out a royal family elsewhere, not in capital, where I used to live. Here and there, to provide some services, and I was compensated very well for those. And that is how I, that is what I was interrogated by Verdriti. I can't stop swinging. Can you stabilize me, please?
Cor grabs him by the chin and leans in. Who are you providing these services to?
Nobody in particular.
Come on, Averos. Been so close.
I still don't know what a dominatrix is.
I'll tell you later, Jane. Give you a demonstration.
Okay.
Corey, you please don't want to know. Please. Please. You will never look at me the same way again.
You really won't. Because we know you really won't, Lily.
Averos.
Cor! He begins to like tear up. Cor!
He wipes his tears away.
We've had so much together, I will have to disappear.
You can
Jade
tell
will-
him.
Jade will
don't know
drop
my
the
cat.
rope just an inch, so he just like jolts down slightly.
God, you really...
Stop
Cor,
the torture.
think back. All the good times we've had. All the wonderful adventures we've been on. Please, you don't know.
Averos, we broke up. You can tell me anything now.
I don't know if I can.
Please?
God, Tamara, I've hated you ever since I've seen you, but please help me out of this situation. No.
I would like to roll an
Jade-
intimidation check on Averos as I tighten my grip ever so slightly.
Okay,
Jade, give assistance because he's
Assistance?
he's using the rope.
sure, you can roll with it. One of you can roll with advantage. So Corey, you can roll with advantage if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Jade will turn to Tamara and say, "I don't hate you. In fact, I quite like you."
I'm also
16.
very much a fan of you, Jade. I think you're quite wonderful.
Maybe we should kiss later. Anyway, first back to this.
16.
16. Cor. Okay, please, before I divulge any further information, just help me understand why it is you want to know this information now all of a sudden.
Because I hate not knowing things, and I think this would be funny.
I know, but you've never questioned these sources of my accumulated wealth until now.
Yeah, but this sounds like a great story.
It is not a great story!
Come on, Avros.
Okay. What's in it for me? It has to be
I'll give you a lollipop.
I don't want a lollipop!
I can let you down.
Cor, okay, look. Let me give you some insight for a little bit before I divulge any of this. Just let me tell you how I've been feeling, please.
Mhm.
And then I'll tell you whatever you like, and we can move from there.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't really been much of an important player in the events that have transpired up until now. I don't know how helpful I could be necessarily, and I want to take a break from the adventuring. I'll say it. I was holding out until now, but I don't think I can handle it anymore. I'm a baby. I don't do any adventuring. This is not for me. I want to be in a luxurious bed all day. I want to lounge around with my money surrounding me. I don't want to be outdoors. I don't want to travel around and do fights and heal wounds. I don't like blood.
This is what made me question why, how he gets all of his money.
Exactly.
And
Hurry up.
I just want to go
He gives
home.
him another swing.
Oh, hey, you're right. I worked as a dominatrix before I knew you. Quite a while before I knew you. I'll admit that much.
Mm.
But that is all! Why do you need you anymore?
It's gonna change so much.
Oh, I'm gonna use something on Avros. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I keep forgetting it's a feature that changelings have.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Ooh.
I think Aelin might know.
Mm-hmm.
Features and traits.
Avarice is...
Sounds spicy.
Avarice is...
Okay.
Avarice is about to lose subscribers on his YouTube channel.
He
So-
really is.
He really is.
This is technically something you use in like battle, but I'm gonna use it on Avros to like give him that push to tell Core. It's unsettling visage, so it's gonna make Core look really scary for a second as his true like changeling features start shifting around his face, and he's gonna lean in and just be like, "Tell me, Avros."
Like Bilbo when he sees the One Ring.
Yeah.
Now, just to clarify, this is this not, or is this a charm effect?
No, it's just scary.
Okay. Does he get to roll anything against it?
No.
No? Is
It's
there
just
no
scary.
Is there no save against
No.
being scared by it?
Unless he attack. No.
Okay.
No save.
Okay. So you're just being intimidating. Okay. Okay. In conjunction with your intimidation check, I think that would be enough to kind of frighten Avarice a little bit. All right.
I think you would have disadvantage on whatever he's trying to do. If he's
Okay.
trying to...
I don't think he's going to be doing much resisting at this point. I'll tell you one piece of information, and then you can draw whatever conclusions you like from that. And after that, I refuse to say any more. I told Virgiti that I had only somewhat recently moved to Capital. That's a lie. I've been living in Capital for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Even while I was providing services to the royal family. Make your own assumptions about that.
Oh,
Tamara looks at him.
you mean the royal family who are all
Dead.
made up of dragonborns?
Yes, Dragonborns.
And dead.
Did you say and dead? I think one of them's dead.
Meh. The other one's missing, right?
True. Like the king is missing actually, yeah. Good memory, Cora. Yes. They're all dragonborn.
Didn't know that was your type, Avros.
Core! And he's just hanging there now, just crying and saying your name.
Even I've never slept with a dragonborn.
Tamar
Steps away from Avros.
Tamar nods for a minute. You know what? I'm impressed. I wouldn't have considered you to be that kind of person, Aros. Interesting. It just oh, God. Tamar looks at the other two of you. Well, okay, that was interesting. Nice interrogation.
I'm glad with my choice of partners. Avros, you were let go at a good time.
What a way. Did you ever get that feeling? You look around and you just have this out-of-body experience thinking, how did I get here? What actions in my life have caused me to end up in this predicament? Lying upside down, with my lunch money falling out of my pockets, by bullies in the courtyard. How did it end up like this?
You solicited me at a bar and now we're here.
I didn't know who I was messing with at the time.
No.
Tamar looks at him for a little bit longer. You know, I think you have some insecurities you need to deal with yourself, Avros. I thought I had issues, but I'm not quite so sure why you're so ashamed of your past. While I may have said a lot of negative things about Baron and how much I've been displeased by his general existence in my near vicinity, he has at least been very open and accepting of his predispositions, I should say. Avros is just lying there. Now I'm being lectured by you of all people. How did it end up like this? How did it... Cortep, and you already told me... Rodriti, how did this happen? You know when we went for that walk? Earlier, that was a short while ago. I did not foresee this situation from occurring in this way.
You are being evasive.
Yes.
I was curious.
He was always a bit freaky.
As a cleric, evasion is not my greatest strength, and I'm not as much of a cleric anyway.
That's why you're a cleric, to heal your clients. If you go, I get it.
God, no! Tamara starts to chuckle. That's
What's it?
interesting insight, Core.
I think it's pretty legit.
Virginia?
Oh, by the way, you owe me 10 gold, Tamar.
Oh, can I, 10 gold for what?
Because Avros chickened.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
We did make that. Yeah, you are correct. Avros, I can't believe it. I had more faith in you.
You can take it from Avros if you want. He's hanging upside down.
Just take my money. Take it. Go ahead. Make my day. I don't think I want to touch your cowardly coins of evasion. I have my own
That was
gold.
good. It was a good try.
Core, do you mind if I give it to you in change? I think I might have 10 gold, but I don't have it in gold coins. I hope you don't mind.
I can give you 10 gold. And Jade starts pulling out
No, Jade, that is not necessary. This is
rolls and rolls of coin.
my
I don't know
my
how
bet
much.
that I have to honor.
You can buy me food for the next 70
That's-
years.
Deal. Wait, what? 70 years? And
You
to
probably won't live
I
that
charge
long.
interest.
he probably wouldn't live that long. I think you're right.
Right.
And then Avros looks at you and says, "That's horrifying! How are you not freaking out at that notion?"
Oh, do
What
we
notion?
let Avros down now, or should
Oh
we
no,
leave him up?
definitely not.
Who
He
should
should,
Okay.
speak for a bit?
he needs to think. I think honestly, I think at this point, what would be best for him
Oh,
is if we let him hang for a little bit longer on his own
yes.
to relax with
And-
his thoughts.
I believe this could become a learning opportunity, and
I agree with that.
Jade
Jade.
will jump down and stand in between Kor and Tamar, and he'll look at Avros swinging, and he say, "So, do you remember when we were doing sit-ups? This is just like a sit-up. Here's what you can do. If you can just do a full body curl
Like,
up to the point where you are folded, you could probably reach the snare and unhook yourself. And then, if you remembered the spinning forms that I showed you, you should be able to do a 3-point landing right underneath you if you're able to do a combination somersault before you hit the ground. I think that's fine.
Okay, give
Or
me
we
a
could
moment.
just leave him to stew on his proclivities and
No, let me
Kor
have-
turns into a little dragonborn and flicks his.
Look, hey, Core. I have a proposition. If you let me down right now, I'll give you 1,000 gold.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Isn't he rich? Should he give you more money?
3,000 gold.
I don't have any more on me. I don't have any more on me.
Okay, drop it on the floor.
What if I give it to you later?
No, drop it on the floor. I want to see.
I think I have. I agree with Jade. I will be able to do this curl maneuver that I have most definitely spent time preparing.
Jade didn't actually specify that that's a magical snare, and even if you were able to do that, nothing would help you.
I have to try at least. Tamara's just looking at him, shaking his head. You weigh so much less than either me or Jade, and yet you cannot even do a simple curl. How pathetic. He's just hanging, looking at Tamar. I hate you. I hate you so much, Tamar. I just thought I should let you know. I've been courteous this whole time, but I really don't like you at all. In fact,
That's
well, yes, hello.
horrible.
I know! I'm a horrible human being. I'm not a human being. I don't know why I said that. I'm a horrible individual. I feel terrible. I want to die. Leave me. Actually, let me down. Can you just let me down, please? I don't want to die for real. I want to lay down on a nice soft bed. Tamar just shakes his head and starts turning around, going back to the building.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit with him, or do you want to come back with us? We can leave him there for a little bit.
Let me down.
Sorry, what was the
Jade's gonna
question?
Jade is going to go back to his formations.
I'm so tired. This is really exhausting. I feel the blood rushing to my head.
Oh, don't worry, it won't fall off. That's an old myth.
I can't lift myself.
I'll just sit and watch this for a little bit.
Oh God! You're a sadist. I like that about you.
Exactly.
But
Uh-oh.
such time has passed.
He just keeps swinging Avros.
I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Oh my God. Meanwhile, where do the rest of you go? Fredrini, are you heading back? Are you staying with Core?
I thought Core, did Core ask a question and who was it to? I don't remember.
Core asked if Shrini wanted to stay with Avros.
Someone should stay with him, but if you're happy with it.
I mean, you guys can do what you want, but I'm quite amused. Flicks Avros. He likes it.
Core, don't say
Can I
that.
do an insight check from like where I am exercising?
Sure.
Is Avros enjoying this? Does he have a humiliation kink? 14 plus.
Oh no.
Not that Jade would have any idea what a
Humiliation.
kink is. 14 plus 7, 21. Is
He
enjoying-
does.
No! Jade'll make this known to Core. He probably knows already, but Core, he's actually... This is giving him what I believe to be immense pleasure. If you'll just, like, raise the line of your sight, you'll understand.
Core just gives you a wink. He's like, I know.
At that, Trini goes back inside.
Yep!
If you raise your line of sight, oh my god. Alright, so you beeline back to the door. Virginia, you are with Tamar back inside. Jada, do you join the others? Or are you there
Sure.
with Core?
Jade will be on the cusp. He's doing his stuff.
No one's monitoring Core.
He's
Core's
doing
a
his stuff.
responsible adult.
Well, he's an adult,
Yep.
therefore can make his own decisions.
True. That's funny that was a character point that I only got insight checked until now at this point. I guess it makes sense then, but that's insightful to say the least.
Yep.
Rodridi, as you walk back, you're there with Jade, you're there with Tamar. Tamar's looking at you, blissfully unaware of the true core of this... The core... Pun. The core of this issue, and how Aris is feeling deep down.
Uh-huh.
He looks at you, and he looks at Jade. I think we should make our plan of attack at this point. We have a lot of time
Yes.
during the day now. It's only midday, and we have way ahead of us. It looks like we have a bit of a walk if we're planning on going to the Kingdom of Crystal, if that's where we want to go, to not only investigate what this whole archive matter is about, but also, Virginia, I know that you have some business there regarding your sister's whereabouts, as far as I understand
No,
it.
she is no longer here.
Oh,
She is now on the plane of water.
oh, on the plane of water. Do you know why?
Nope.
It seems oddly suspicious. Well, if you don't mind my asking, and I understand if you do, so stop me if you would like to, but do you know what the reason for her trip to the temple of... sorry, not the temple, trip to the plane of water entails? Why is she there?
And all she said was, let me find this ending. She's on the plane of water. She'll be back soon.
Okay. Soon is rather vague.
It is, isn't it?
It is. That is the kind of message I would give if I was completely unsure of exactly how long I would spend in any given place.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I say, considering that like Tamara's probably spent the most like one-on-one with Dridi, he might get that while she's unexpressive, she's talking a little bit more like clipped than normal when referring to her sister, and she might be a little miffed.
Okay. He's gonna roll an insight check on you, I think, actually, to see if he's going to be oblivious to the way that you're feeling about the situation or not. Tamara, where are you? Clickety, green boy, big lentil. Come here.
The big lentil.
He really is a
Big
big
Lentil
lentil.
is his rapper name.
Hard on the outside, soft on the inside. He just big squish.
Big squish. He does have a lot of protein. Okay. Insight is a +0. That makes sense in character. He does not catch on to that, I think, with a 5. How do you feel?
Do you say you don't want to give him advantage on that?
I think it depends on how expressive you are. If you say
She's
that
not-
if your expression
She
isn't
doesn't-
yeah.
Her hair flowers changed abruptly, and her talking pattern just a little bit more clipped.
I think, despite the fact that they've spent a lot of time together, the fact that Tamar's wisdom and charisma are very, very low probably inhibits him enough that even though he's close to you, while he could probably discuss and understand your feelings, maybe more so than a stranger would be able to, he probably still wouldn't be as good as at picking up on them, maybe, as you would expect.
Granted, like, Jade also has good insight and is right there.
Jade, if you're there, how are you feeling?
My passive insight is 17. My passive perception is also 17. So
Tamar's are
would that
both
be
10.
enough for me to like? Good. So would that be enough for me to roll something to be like, hey, what's going on here?
You can roll an insight check, and then I think it would be up to Verdridi to decide whether or not Verdridi's...
It is
Feeling
12 plus 7, 19.
I was gonna say a 17 would have been enough that, like,
Hmm.
would have gotten that she's a little bit irritated.
Druti, you sound like you're in distress. I believe I can assist you. Have you considered learning the art of tumbling, parkour, and acrobatics? It
This
doesn't
might
take
be
too much.
Not necessarily to finding Arya and finding Arya, but definitely for the exorcism of emotion.
Okay. Attack me if you like. We can spar.
I don't know if that's necessarily what Verdridi was alluding to, specifically.
I just meant I would join you on your morning calisthenics.
Okay.
I would like to engage in some morning calisthenics as well.
Okay, this is how it goes.
I've gained a bit of a belly that I would like to burn off a little bit if I can.
Okay. I just hit my fucking mic. Ich, ni, san, shi. It's like this over and over and over again. I'm not gonna do it. My ceiling's not high enough. But you know how like salarymen do those like
Yeah.
switches on the ceiling, on the like roofs of their office buildings. It's like that, but far more intensive and Jade doesn't understand the concept, I think, of building up your skills. He goes from very quickly from like simple stretches to now we will do a quad roll.
Perfect. Drini's all for it. She's just gonna get into it.
Tamara's also very much into this, completely unlike Avros was earlier. Speaking of, as you do your morning routine, we will switch over to the dubious duo by the tree. Avros is hanging from the tree, starting to tire himself out a little bit. Core, how are you going?
He just sat cross-legged in front of Avros, just like, As a hanging.
You know, I had a thought. This is a lot less interesting when there's less people around.
Yeah, it doesn't
He
mean
also
I'm
is an
really
exhibitionist. Oh god.
Was it like a group thing you did, or was it like a one-on-one, you know?
Oh, it varied. Mostly one-on-one.
Mostly one-on-one.
Yes.
Did you wear like a full-on like latex suit and stuff?
It was a while ago. Yes, I believe I did. It was more like, if you can imagine a sort of latex lingerie for men, that's sort of what I was wearing. With spikes. Which is quite nice.
I think I've seen you in something like that.
Strangely, for whatever reason, divulging this information to you is not quite as emotionally visceral as I was hoping it would be, as it was to, well, the rest of the group.
Oh, you're not embarrassed in front of me.
I've gotten quite bored, unfortunately. How are you doing, Cor?
Yeah.
How's everything with you and Jade and Tamar?
Yeah, pretty decent.
You know,
I think.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, Cor, but I think it seems that you've been, in some ways, I think a little bit happier than you were before, I think.
Yes, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
I'd say so. Despite the stress of the recent situations regarding your poor mother. Of course.
Ah, yes.
But I think those two feelings are distinct from each other and distinguishable. Or at least I would think so. I don't know if either of your compatriots are necessarily quite so intuitive as far as emotions are concerned. Jade is certainly much more well-equipped to deal with that sort of stuff than Tamara is, although I don't know if Jade gives himself enough credit for that I fear that...
Can I insight check Avros?
Yeah, go for it. He's just rambling at this point. I feel as though I think Jade is very intuitive, but Jade gives himself no credit for that.
14.
14? What are you looking for?
He speaks of Jade very highly.
He does. What specifically are you insight checking? What do you think of Jade?
Yeah.
Well, okay, as far as you can tell, it seems as though he does not gravitate towards Tamar at all. You could maybe say the reasons behind his... How do I put this delicately? He's you know from being with him that Avros is, while he has his own, emotions and character depth and that sort of thing, he is a very superficially motivated person in a lot of ways. And so you think that maybe that's tied to the way he views people as well.
Okay.
Cole, why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just trying to discern your motives a little more.
My motives a little bit more.
Hmm.
Well, what I was saying, I wasn't lying about necessarily. I have been feeling a little bit less...
Bored.
Bored is a good way of putting it, yes. Partially bored, partially terrified of the surroundings.
How can you be bored and terrified at the same time?
It's a strange feeling. Maybe just uncomfortable. I feel like I'm out of my element quite a bit. Being out of bed and awake, doing things in the morning, I have never really, liked much of that sort of thing.
Terribly boring.
Terribly boring. You put it very well. I've been thinking about leaving the group.
Mm-hmm.
At least for a while. We are quite close. Well, we're not that close. We're kind of far away. But relatively speaking, we are closer to capital than we have been in the past few days, weeks of our journeys, of being on other planes and stuff like that. Like, we're at the capital is, maybe a week's way away of travel. Away from here, I think. Considering we are right at the Kingdom of Crystal. And that is about a week's way away from the capital that I know and love.
You didn't want to go to the Kingdom of Crystal?
Not particularly, no, if you're asking me. I do feel like I want to return home for a little bit.
And do what?
And lounge around and be lazy! For just a little while. I've just missed doing that. It's not that I don't enjoy being out here with you. Although now that we're not romantically involved, I feel like I have less of an incentive now than ever before.
That is true.
You
don't really get anything out of this deal anymore.
Exactly. To be quite honest. This is a money sink for me. And I'm not getting any deep enjoyment or pleasure out of it, necessarily. I do quite enjoy bonding with you and the others, although I think maybe there's a friction there between myself and some of the others. I don't feel like I necessarily jive with everyone in the same way that you might jive with me. Or on a much more extreme level, I think Baron has that same problem as well.
Yeah, I mean...
He doesn't seem to engage with anyone very well, at all.
You're a very particular type of personality, and so is Baron.
Yes, I think Baron more so than myself, but I certainly see some similarities in our dynamic there, at the very least.
You do like Jade a lot, though.
Hold on, what do you mean by that?
I'm just making an observation.
Don't make observations like that, what are you insinuating?
Can I insight check him again?
Insight check him again, yeah. You can go with advantage if you like.
Okay, it was really good anyway. It was dirty 20 or... Yeah, dirty 20.
He does seem to be partial towards Jade for some reason. I think with a dirty 20, you could probably make your own assumptions. You have seen how, okay, here's an insight piece that you can get. You know how Avros looks in person, in real life, He definitely does not have rock-hard abs or anything like that. He's a softer individual, but by no means chubby or anything like that. He's not well built. He doesn't have the body of somebody who's been working out, anything like that.
He's like skinny fat.
Skinny fat, yeah. That's a good way of putting it, probably. And he looks great, and he carries himself very well, and he's very stylish in that sort of way, and he has great, fabulous hair. But the way he's portrayed in that painting of himself on the wall is a much more of an idealized, chiseled version of how he might like to be portrayed. So
He idealizes Jade.
in a way, you could maybe gain that there's some sort of projection going on there. not necessarily one of, like, attraction per se, but definitely a sort of projection. I think with a high insight, you could probably gain that much information.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in a way, by, like, talking highly of Jade, he's, like, validating that sort of internalized image of himself. But we're getting into a little bit too much armchair psychology, so I think that's going to be up to you to decipher and explore as much as you think Core would be able to.
I think Core's gonna stand up and he'll turn into the painting version of Avros.
Oh.
Core! My goodness.
Does this make you uncomfortable?
Well, I was going to say, you know, you're... Not really, necessarily. It's a bit strange that you chose... I mean, I can totally understand why you would choose my visage of all.
Avros, sweetie, you don't look like this.
Well, not completely, no. I admit that it is a slightly exaggerated version of the real Avros. What point are you trying to make?
He turns into Jade.
Core, no.
Just sussing the reactions. Because, you know, he turns back into himself and leans in. If you get too close to Jade, I will have to make not friends with you.
What are you going to do?
Horrible, nasty things.
What kind of horrible, nasty things? Tell me.
You like this a bit too much.
No, I don't. What are you talking about? I just want to know what kind of absolutely destructive things you would do to my life.
Core is generally finding this quite funny.
I'm just asking out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
Avros,
I'm a curious individual. Yes.
I think you should implement Jade's workout regimen, and if you are craving someone with rock hard chiseled abs, just get back on the dating scene in Capital. You don't have me to worry about anymore.
I don't necessarily crave somebody with rock hard abs. That is not necessarily the type of individual that I would necessarily shoot for.
Make friends with them, so then you can have a goal to work towards.
I don't like goals and being, you know, hardworking and dedicated to something. That seems like so much effort.
You're not going to get abs if you lie down and drink wine all day.
Not with that attitude.
And I'm sorry to break it to you.
I didn't, you know, I wasn't under the false impression that the wine was going to get me towards my... Not goal. It's not a goal of getting abs. It won't get me towards that. I know that. I'm not trying to get abs. I'm not intimidated by Jade. I don't know why you would bring that up.
Insight check.
Insight check. Go.
This whole time Jade is
22.
doing
22.
burpees.
I don't think he even said that he was intimidated by Jade. That's just like that he brought up. So
Okay.
he's maybe unconsciously, you know, speaking out his insecurities just a little bit without realizing them.
Okay, Ambrose. You...
I insist.
Mm-hmm.
Don't offend me. I know you don't believe me.
You, Avros, are attractive in your own way.
That's kind of you to say, but I assure you that I have utmost self-esteem. In myself, I know I'm fabulous and gorgeous,
He
and
like
nobody
tickles
can...
up Avros' stomach and like
Ah!
pinches his belly.
Ah! Don't... No! Okay,
And this
I'm...
is fine.
Why do you do this to me?
Do what?
I mean, I'm not complaining, but this.
I think it's funny.
I can see why we got along so well.
Compatible sense of humor.
Yes. There was a give and take there. But I'm glad you're doing well for yourself now. Can you please let me down? I'm getting quite tired. I think I'm
I
not
will let
thinking
you
straight.
down if you promise to stop staring at one of my two boyfriends.
I cannot promise that at all, Core.
Avros.
However, I will endeavor to take a break from this... From these escapades that you're going on. Look, I promise you, I would like to return to my home. For at least a short while. And if you need me, I'll be there. I can make my way to wherever you're staying. If my services are needed. But I would like to return home for a little bit at least. I miss my home. So
Yes, I'm sure we will miss your levity, to be honest. It's quite enjoyable.
Yes. Who wouldn't? But... I can assure you I won't be staring at either of your boyfriends, especially Tamar, from my home at home.
Aww.
Tamara's very attractive, excuse you.
I think that is very subjective. A subjective matter.
He's 7 foot tall, Avros.
I know that.
What are you? 6'2"?
Hey! He's a half orc. I don't have those kinds of, tall genes inside of me.
I'll let you down. He lets the snare go.
Ah! And he falls down to the ground. Oh, my shoulder. Hold on 1 second. Oh. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
That was fun. Let's not do that again.
No, I'll think about it. Core starts heading back towards the hotel.
He starts heading back slowly behind you towards the hotel as well. And as you head back to the hotel to meet up with the others, to begin your preparations for whatever it is you're about to embark on right now, we will use this opportunity to take a short break in this session to get a tea refill, get a water refill, get some snacks, get some food, go to the toilet, do whatever you need to do, file your tax returns, whatever it is that you'd like to do in this break, I implore you to do so. We'll be back in a short moment, so don't nobody go anywhere. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay. Wow.
boom, we have audio. Hello, we are back.
Hello.
And boom, we have video. We are back again after the escapades that have just taken place. We are in an interesting spot now. The adventurers all collecting back in the lobby of the building where they once slept. You're all regrouped back together. So as you're all inside, I think the last two to rejoin the group back inside is Core. You're coming back with Avarice in tow. Not literally, but, given the circumstances, I don't think he would really mind that.
He sends Avros to the bathroom. He's like, just go around that way. That way. Goodbye. Brushes him off.
Okay, alright.
He needs to go shower. He fell.
Okay, you're not wrong. And he goes to leave. And he disappears from the sight of everyone else. And the rest of you are there now in the lobby with Tamar looking ready. He looks like he's ready to go somewhere at a brisk pace. And he looks to you, Core, as you come in. Welcome back.
Hey.
Hey, did anything happen?
Not really. Avros just enjoyed himself a little too much.
What does that mean?
No.
No.
Okay, I won't ask. Regardless.
Driti does sweep flip.
Mm.
And then she fell.
Oh. Are you
And
okay,
then I
Dream?
picked her up.
Oh, then you're okay. Why does everyone look so ready?
Well, we were talking and getting energized. Some cardio exercises.
Yeah.
Talking about our plan of attack, figuratively, so to speak. About heading to the Kingdom of Crystal and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it seems like it shouldn't be too far of a walk. So I was suggesting that once we regroup and have some time to ourselves, and once we're all ready, we should head off as soon as can be. We've got the entire day ahead of us. So, well, not the entire day. It is getting closer to midday now, but we have enough time to hopefully make it all the way to the Kingdom of
You're
Crystal.
being very proactive. This
Yes.
is new for you.
I think that's something I should strive to do a little bit more.
I
Seeing-
think Jade likes that.
They both look away. Say it isn't so. Well, you could say I was motivated by how cowardly Avarice was appearing to be.
I'd be cowardly too if I was a dominatrix for Dragonborns.
I'm surprised he was a dominatrix.
It's the Dragonborns that surprises me.
That is
What's a
also surprising.
dominatrix? Still, I don't know.
Oh, Jade.
I have a feeling that Core might know more about this than I would,
Oh yeah, but Tamar learns by proxy.
by proxy. So it is somebody who dominates you in a sexual way.
Wow. Usually wearing latex.
That is a common theme, or so I've heard from Core.
Yeah, inflicting fun pain. I say fun pain because it's not the pain that hurts a lot. Well,
Well. And
not everyone's into that, Jade.
the reason I found that surprising in the first place was because Avarice didn't strike me as the kind of person who was into that part of this, like, on that half of the spectrum. It definitely seemed more like the kind of person
What's
who
the
would,
other half of the spectrum?
the person getting dominated.
He's pretty versatile.
He looks at you with an unreadable expression.
I don't think you want to know.
I don't personally know, not necessarily. I'm not quite so curious.
Okay. I understand.
And at this point,
Hey,
Avarice comes back. Okay, I've returned. Why are you all looking at me like that?
Oh, we're just
I
seeing
know
you.
what a dominatrix is now.
Oh. Yay for knowledge. I'm happy for you, Jade.
Good.
I mean,
Thank
Jade,
you.
I think you look pretty good in leather, just saying.
I could wear. I can't wear leather armor.
So far to go. It's okay. I'm patient. Dridi, were you speaking?
Oh, just was I?
Were you?
Encourage
Yes, you
the
are.
knowledge. The
Speak now.
knowledge. That was it.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to ask you all if you're planning on going to the Kingdom of Crystal.
Mhm.
Tamar
We
looks at
are.
him. Yes, I think we're all on the same page here. I can't speak for Baron, but Baron is apparently the superior according to you. Would you care to tell us a little bit more about that, since you just brought that up and then immediately left? Well, I had not exactly sure, but he seems to be dealing with his own issues. And that's...
Maybe it was.
Yes?
Well, I don't know if any of you did, but I also had an odd dream last night.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I was climbing a mountain and then everyone was there and you guys looked
Like
You
like
know.
ourselves. Jade is still
Smile.
shirtless.
yeah, you Jade, yeah, pretty much. And Tamara, you looked a bit more like, when I first met you. And you were sitting at the table and then I was like, should I sit there? And then there were these shiny figures like up ahead and I was like, oh, hot guys, shiny figures. And I went after the shiny figures because why not? And then my dream ended.
Who were these shiny figures?
Not sure, but they were shiny.
Could you see anything? Can you do? Like, were they just figures in the distance, or did you see like actual up close figures?
I didn't, did I?
No, you did not. You just saw silhouettes in the distance that were engulfed by the light blooming from behind them.
Silhouettes in the distance.
But you can roll a retrospective insight check or something, or intelligence check if you'd like to gain maybe some information about what they looked like.
I'll go for an intelligence. Wait.
And I'll let you do it with advantage as well because of the nature of the silhouettes.
Ooh.
If you're introspecting about your dream.
So
I
sorry,
will.
what check am I making?
Your choice of insight, intelligence.
Insight's better.
Okay.
So that is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. With a dirty 20, you get the feeling that there was something that felt very perennial about them.
I think it might be related to my childhood trauma.
Okay.
Okay.
I won't pry into that necessarily, but I wish you good luck with scaling the mountain, whatever it is that you were doing. We can talk about that later if you'd like to.
I was abandoned as a child.
Yes.
We know.
You've mentioned as much. I'm sorry about that, Core.
Moving on. What was your dreams about?
My dream, well, funnily enough, I've mentioned the incident twice now, but the dream specifically was about the day in which Bronze,
Cleft you in twain?
yes, and abandoned me to die.
So also childhood trauma. Anyone else had childhood
Was I
trauma?
ever really a child?
Yes.
Okay.
Dreedy?
Just my family, and then the room with the portal, and there was a demon that came out of it, and
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, that seems a bit more pertinent, doesn't it?
I guess it seems like in different ways this all relates to stuff that's happened in the real world.
Oh, well, mine was just you guys being hot and glowing figures, so I think maybe your dreams were more relevant.
Maybe you just have very high opinions of us internally.
Maybe I just have high expectations.
I
He stares away.
I could stand to work out a bit more. It's been a while. I have gained.
Oh, smart. I know you're in your early 30s. It's okay. Immortals age.
Yes, they do. I'm aware of that.
Yes.
Avros looks at the rest of you.
Lucky.
So we are heading to the kingdom, right? Like today? Today. That's happening.
unless you're
Yes.
not coming with the Zebras, but yes.
Well, I thought about it a little bit, and I will, I think, accompany you to the destination. Partly to make sure that you're all okay, because that's what a good person would do. And I am a very good person. And secondly, because I'm pretty sure that there'll be an easier way for me to travel from there straight to capital, hopefully, without needing to walk a week to get
You could
there.
jog. You might make it in, I don't know, 6 days.
I could jog. That is great. I could jog. I refuse to do that, however.
Why?
Jade would be proud of you.
Can you imagine how much sweat would come pouring out of me?
And that would then lead your muscles to look better.
Muscles schmuscles. My top that I'm wearing is not really made for that amount of sweat to come pouring out of my
Top.
pores while I'm attempting to
If
run
you
back.
observe myself, I am half I am only half dressed.
Jade, I wouldn't ask him to observe you. He already thinks you're hot.
Cora, where did that come from?
I'm quite temperate.
Hot, as in. We've talked about this, Jade.
I am attractive.
Yes, you are.
Tamara looks at you. Yes,
Thank
I
you.
concur with that sentiment. Tamara looks around. Avros looks around. Regardless, I will head with you to the Kingdom of Crystal, and then I will head back. That is what I plan to do. And then if you need me for anything, just let me know, and I will come knocking at your door, or I won't, and we'll go from there.
Understood.
I believe you owe me like 3,000 gold.
We can talk about the nitty-gritty later. Once you're...
I can just come and take the painting from you.
Please don't take the painting.
Okay.
It's quite a nice piece, and
Yes.
it is personal. I cherish it, for my own reasons.
Mhm.
And it's in an expensive frame. That frame cost me quite a lot.
Yeah, no.
Regardless, I'm going to get going. I'm going to. I have my things to collect. I will get my water flask and all of that, and I'll have a look.
We leave in 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll be right back. And he goes up and runs upstairs.
Don't forget to do your hair.
He mumbles down.
Hmm.
And the rest of you get ready to head out. Is there anything you guys are
Indeed.
preparing while you're getting ready?
Who's carrying me?
I'd
Jade
like to carry
will-
this time.
Before we leave, sorry, Jade wanted to say one thing to Core, but
Mhm.
sorry to interrupt. Go on.
That is okay. I am done electing myself as the role of carrier for this mission.
Okay.
I very much appreciate that.
Core,
Jade.
thank you for explaining to me what a dominatrix is. I appreciate you being open and sharing these things with me.
I can share many things with you, Jade. He reaches up and gives Jade's cheek a pat.
He gives Jade's cheek a pat. No. He gives Core's cheek a pat in return, and then reaches up to Tamara and just. Okay.
He nods.
This has been great.
He presses his hand up to both your cheeks as well.
Wow. Guys.
Your hands smell of lentils.
Skincare.
That's because I ate
Ugh.
4 bowls of them.
Get off. He flicks Tamara away.
Have fun carrying Core, and Jade will just kind of like drift into the distance.
Because of my evil
Or
plan.
immediately
Lead
starts
into the
pulling out
shadow.
perfume. Tamara, come here. We need to make you
I'm
smell
here.
good. Okay. He starts dumping perfume on him.
Oh, that's quite a lot.
Yes. You need it.
I smell like flowers and herbs and nice dreams and kittens.
Yes. He rubs it into Tamara's temples. Let it soothe you.
Is this going to seep into my bloodstream?
Is this going to affect you mentally? Maybe.
But I'm scared,
I
Core.
think this gonna affect me.
Be
man.
mentally.
I love that sound. It's so funny.
And at that point, Avros returns with his hair freshly made, and he whips it in your direction as he turns. Are we ready to embark on our historic journey?
Yeah, you're walking. Core lounges.
At least I'm just walking. Alright, onward and outward! And he begins to leave. The lady at the counter is nowhere to be seen. He doesn't wave back. He makes his way for the door. Tamar picks you up, Core. Now
Whee!
smelling like an eclectic mix of your perfumes that you've dumped upon his person. He carries you out. You almost hit your head on the door frame as he carries you out.
No, at least he's comfy. He flops back.
And the rest of you, I'm guessing, follow in tow as you make your way out into the wild world of the Shiny Boys.
Hell yeah.
Alright. As you walk, you see a grand, sprawling landscape in front of you. Now in the daytime, for the first time since you've been here, since I'm pretty sure that when you were here last, it was nighttime. But now you can see pretty clearly throughout the day what kind of an area you're dealing with. You've got your trees on the left, your trees on the right. If you look around, you'll see another tree and a bush over there. It looks pretty neat. There is some wildlife here and there. You can hear the rustling in the distance, the faint rustling of wild boar and antelope in the distance. You see
She.
You see flowers blooming all around you as the dirt path before you sprawls into the distance over the horizon and towards the grand landscape of the Kingdom of Crystal, which you see in front of you. As you walk over the course of the next few hours, there are a few things that will catch your attention as you get closer and closer. The Kingdom of Crystal appears to be more and more like a sort of, in the distance from what you can see, a sort of city built around a point, spiraling into the center, where there are a lot of like these giant, huge, towering columns of gemstone just poking out from the ground, like protruding, creating an almost, not really kind of like a dome, but in a dome-like pattern, circular pattern throughout the city. They seem to just be kind of poking out of the ground and up into a point in the middle. As if almost like barriers of sorts, you know? And some of them are a bit more magical and shiny than some others. You see a few of them a little bit more dull and less vibrant as some of the other massive gemstones poking out of the floor, out of the ground, I should say. As you walk, the density of the forest kind of changes around you. Yes, Alan.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see if there's any like indication of like what would have caused some of these gemstones to go kind of dull like that?
Not from this far away.
Okay.
But interesting point to bring up. Unless you'd like to do some sort of check.
I'm proficient in checking
In gemstones.
in
Yeah.
gemstones. Core jobstone. Let me do this. Druity.
You'd probably
I
have to wait till you get to the city to be able to do any sort of serious investigation. But if you just want to look at it from a distance, I'll let you give some... I will let if Core and Verdruti would like to do something together, I will let you both choose what you want to do, and I'll give you an advantage roll on whatever it is you're trying to do to investigate the nature of these stones from very, very far away. If there's any sort of inkling of an idea that you can get.
I don't know, a nature check?
Core, what do you think?
I can send my familiar to go.
They would take a while to travel there and travel back.
But they could go and fly over
And
straight up and then transform, and then I can just resummon it.
Sure. Okay. How much faster than you is your familiar?
Well, if it's flying in a straight up, it'll be a shorter distance, and then I'll figure out how fast it can go.
As the familiar flies,
As
how
the
far away? How far away would you say we are from these?
I think at this point you are probably about... Second?
120 feet.
Yeah, that'll be able to fly and come back to you with some info. Or fly there and then you can resummon it and have some information
It's a
about the gemstones.
hummingbird.
Oh, cute. Alright, I would say that you're all probably maybe about 2 hours away at the moment. You've walked
Okay.
already for a few hours, and depending on how things go in the forest, we will either work these out or cut forward. We'll have to see how it plays out. But as you take your familiar all the way over to the city to inspect the gemstones a little bit closer up, you do notice one thing that your hummingbird would feel is a sort of strange magical energy as you fly towards one of these massive columns that reaches out into the sky, arcing over the top of this like sprawling landscape of the city. Or sprawling cityscape, I should say, maybe. There is a very strong, powerful sort of magical energy that seems to be infused within your familiar as it flies over. Like a sort of bolt of lightning, almost. Although one that you can't necessarily see, but one you can feel. Giving it a sort of powerful, almost protection sort of feeling like... It feels like that sort of defensive sort of magic. That's what it feels.
Weird.
Flying over the other ones, the ones that are a lot more dull, it seems like they don't seem to have any sort of effect at all other than looking like gemstones that have been maybe zapped of some sort of magical energy. Up close, one thing that you're familiar would be able to tell, maybe, is something clear is that there is some sort of a magical energy or magical property to these very large, very vibrant, shining gemstones that causes them to, one, shine like this and also cause that sort of magical effect to radiate out from it. Which isn't present in some of these duller ones that seem to have been, well, you can't say exactly what, but don't seem to have the same sort of magical energy flowing through them. Outside of that, I don't know if you could get much more information, unless there's something very specific that you're looking for that your familiar can find, but that's the kind of information that you would get from having a mini investigation.
Okay, I will relay this to everyone.
Could it be where those dull stones are? There is no zapping property.
I wonder what this zapping property is. Core, did anything happen to your familiar?
Did anything happen to my familiar?
It just got like a boost, basically. It would feel like if you've ever had like an energy drink or something, I imagine the effect would be kind of
Cora's
similar.
constantly hyped up on sugar. He's like, I guess I felt a small thing. Maybe.
Okay. Was it a good small
To him,
thing or
it's like literally nothing.
bad
now.
small thing? Core is just an energy drink.
Yeah. He's just
That's
constantly
not wrong.
fizzing. Decent? Yeah, it didn't seem that bad.
Okay.
You know, like when you hit your like 12th coffee.
I've never had that many coffees.
I drink tea.
This is
You guys are weird.
I'm more of an alcohol kind of person.
Espresso martini, when you hit your 12th espresso martini.
That
I
is
have
also
tea.
far fancier than what I'm usually known for drinking.
Alcohol is outside of the bounds of my upbringing.
Is it outside of your moral beliefs and religion?
I think maybe yes.
Okay, tomorrow we're going to be drinking on our own.
Okay.
Oh, I can brew teas which have psychedelic effects, and that is okay.
That sounds
That-
quite interesting. I'm interested in that, actually.
I'm
We
just
should try
using
that.
what
Maybe we could have a little bit of alcohol inside as well.
Yes.
I am
I
trying to cut down a
myself
little
have
bit,
a psychedelic effect.
Iris is looking
Which-
at this point.
Oh god.
Iris looks like he's thinking to
wish.
himself a little bit as you guys are walking after hearing that information.
Avros, it looks like your brain cells are rubbing together. All two of them.
Oh, you are staring at my cranium again. Noticing my brain power coming through. Yes.
Not the receding hairline at all.
I am turning back right now, mister. How dare you insinuate that I have a receding hairline?
He blows him a kiss.
And his hair kind of flies back a little bit too far. Why? What do you ask? What is this about a receding hairline? Why are you bothering me, Cor?
You even sound like an old man. What are you thinking about?
What am I thinking about? How much I would love to be out of here. There's something strange about the Kingdom of Crystal. Did you say something about there being those gemstone structures that aren't lit up? Aren't like? Tell me again
Yeah.
what you saw. Give me a description. Help me understand. Exactly.
He relays everything to Avros.
Okay,
again.
I understand. That's confusing. Those crystal pillars should all be quite magical and fairly potent at that too. I'm surprised that some of them would appear dull. Although even from this distance, I can kind of see that that's what the case is. I wonder why. There is a sort of.
Can I roll?
Hmm?
Can I roll like either an intelligence or an arcana?
Can I assist with that?
Sure, your choice. What are you looking for?
I'll go for arcana because Cause again got proficiency.
Hmm.
We've got assistance. Ooh, it's going to be very good. +7, damn. 25.
25? Okay. For intelligence or arcana?
Arcana.
Arcana. Okay. With that sort of check, unless you're looking for something very, very specific, the type of magical effect that you think your familiar could have experienced is similar to that of maybe a magical amulet that would contain something like a magical gem that would provide you with something like a buff of some kind, like maybe a shielding sort of magic, or a magic that would, increase like a stat of yours or something like that. Like a sort of a helpful magic that protects the wearer in a way. You get that same sort of magic vibe from your arcana check from these pillars that seem to be emitting that same sort of, or similar sort of magical energy. That's at least the kind of a magical boost that you felt your familiar got.
Mm-hmm.
And Avros seems to confirm as much. Having visited before, I remember that those pillars were all pretty brightly lit up, even in the nighttime. And, well, I think I'll leave it a surprise what happens when we actually enter the city. Although if some of those pillars are dull, I don't know if that's going to affect anything.
No. No surprise.
No, it's a
Will
fun
they
surprise, believe me.
Kill us.
No surprise.
Okay.
What is
I'll tell you the important part. But I won't tell you anything that's... let's say, it doesn't have any serious ramifications or effects on the beholder.
Evros, we're friends, right?
Are we? I would hope
Yes.
so.
Are we?
Dridi
Yes, I would say we're friends. Of course. I would love to help you out. in any
Dridi
way.
is going to cast friends.
What does friends do?
Basically, any sort of charisma check for the next minute, she's gonna have advantage on.
Oh wow, okay. That's pretty cool. Okay. You're very charismatic, Trudy. I haven't seen the side of you before.
Yes, it's surprising.
There is a sort of protective magic that, well, the magic aura of that city bestows upon its residents. Or not necessarily its residents, but those who enter and, are in the presence of those pillars experience an effect twofold. Am I okay?
Just look at a really funny gif. It's good.
It's an effect that has a sort of protective element to it. As one part. But it's multifaceted. There is another aesthetic sort of change that comes along with that protective magic. But that is the part that I don't think will necessarily be much of a problem for anybody.
Will it affect all of us?
He looks to the pillars now. I don't know if the dullness of some of those is going to have, if this will actually affect us at all or not, but from my experience, having been here before, it should.
You seem a bit too excited about this.
It is fun. Look, you can trust me.
Hmm.
Also, after a minute, Avros would know that Drudy has cast something.
Hold on, wait a minute, Vidridi.
And what it would look like to everybody else is that, like, her flowers just kind of bloom a little bit more. Maybe it looks like there's this kind of like shimmer of like pollen.
Ooh, pretty.
Don't worry. If the effect happens like I think is going to, then you'll, I think, be enamored by the magic of the city, or at least I hope so.
Avros, if we die, I'm gonna be so unhappy.
I don't want to die. I'm terrified of death, and you know this very well. I would not do anything that would cause us to go into even more danger. That is exactly that is the main reason why I'm wanting to leave and go back home. Is precisely
Although
because
you
of
are the
that.
oldest out of all of us, so if anyone was to die, you would be the least lost.
Thank you for
How
those.
old are you, Avros?
I don't want to say.
400 years.
I don't want to say.
300 years.
That's for Avros to know and you to wonder about. Now let's go towards the city.
Are you on death's door?
Yes, I'm dying. Thank you for taking notice, and I appreciate your courtesy. Now, as a dying old man, please respect my wishes to not ask about my age any further. I'm on my deathbed, Jade. Let's go to adventure. Tamar shakes his head as this is happening, and you all walk for it. Now, I would like. I'm gonna roll a dice, actually. Lily, could you please roll for me a d12 as you walk?
Oh boy. You guys pick which one.
Oh, I shouldn't choose.
I personally very much like the one with the golden numbers, I think?
This one?
Yeah. That's my pick, personally. That's pretty.
9.
9, okay.
9.
Okay,
9.
let's see. As you walk, you continue forward. There is something that you spot in the distance running towards you in a general direction. You see two figures approaching fairly fast, humanoid-looking creatures, hard to see from this distance as they are cloaked in many cloths covering most of their identifying features. Although you get the idea that it's maybe a humanoid creature of some sort, as far as you can tell from what you can tell about these creatures. These two creatures running towards you. And they appear to be hostile, running in your general direction. Although they don't look like they've noticed you yet. The feeling that you'd get, maybe, is that these are potentially thieves of some sort. That's the kind of... Or bandits? That's the kind of aura that they give off right now.
I have too much jewelry to be robbed. Jade,
Can
you
I
just-
cast? I can. I would like to cast Pass Without a Trace
Mm-hmm.
by giving everyone the ability to slightly camouflage themselves better. And I think I've decided how Jade does this.
Mhm.
He hands everyone small pebbles, which he says, if you believe in the stillness of mind and that you are one with the environment, you will become one with where you are. That's an ancient practice
That sounds
from my
very...
temple.
Take this, it'll protect you.
Hold this rock.
I believe in the power of rocks.
Okay, I shall give it my best attempt.
Okay.
I believe in the power of rocks.
Avros looks at you. I don't know what this will do, but I'll give it my best attempt.
Okay, so you guys can all make a stealth check, add 10 on top of your regular bonus.
Ooh, okay.
That was cocked.
Ooh.
18, 28, 36.
Oh,
Damn, Avros got really
21.
high as well. Avros got a
25.
30. Tamara is not doing quite as well. Oh no, 30 as well.
I'm just too shimmery to conceal properly.
And so you both,
Conceal, don't
you
feel.
you all conceal yourselves. Wait, Virginia, what did you roll?
Consider yourselves all stealth.
21.
Sorry.
21. Still good. Still good. That's a good thing we have the modifier.
Yeah.
And you, okay, as you all attempt to become one with the stone, stillness of mind being all you are at the moment, you are completely still. As you watch and wait for these bandits to run by. And as they do, they seem to be completely unaware of your existence at all, and they
Yay.
pass by. You hear them running. You see one of them carrying a satchel of something, like a big bag full of who knows what. With their swords by their sides, or their scimitars by their sides, they make their way off into the distance along the path towards Capital, although this is quite far from Capital at this point. They make their way into the distance, away from the Kingdom of Crystal. And you are once again at peace. Nothing to disturb you on your way there. And if there's nothing else you'd like to do in this particular situation, then I'm going to say that you walk all the way until...
I would like to affirm, Jade, that was a very smart decision, and I appreciate you.
Thanks,
Would
Jade.
you like a kiss?
Call like a lounges down from Tamar. Can you reach me?
Yes.
Tamara leans down a little bit.
He will give Cora a kiss.
Yes.
And then on the way down, just pat Tamar.
He looks
I'm
like
making my
he's
way.
beaming. Sorry, say again.
I'm making headway.
He nods. Corey, you feel him nod, and you just kind of shake around as his whole body just goes...
Don't, Josh. Don't. Tamar,
Oh, sorry.
work on your equilibrium.
Sorry, I cannot help that I am an absolute unit. He continues walking with you, Core, and the rest of you all make your way to the Kingdom of Crystal, and you eventually approach, and you start to get to the point where...
Yes,
Can I
I'm
please?
Yes.
Yes, it's me. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Can I just
Welcome to
have
the show.
done something in the moments just before Core turned around and was like, "You did good." Can
Mm.
Jade maybe have gotten a good look at the faces / the general description of the criminals, just in case they had something, just in case it comes up?
Okay,
I know.
roll for me a perception check.
20.
20?
But
That's
not natural.
pretty good. So with a 20, and given the fact that they were running away, what you'd be able to gain is that you saw, with a high enough roll, I think you would see that their eye colors are both a shade of sort of red. They both have red irises. But outside of that, you don't get much of a...
Stare.
Oh, stop.
It's Brian and Brian again! So you see two Brians. No, you see...
We're on set 2 with the moose.
Outside of that,
No.
He kept the other one.
outside of that, they're wearing
Various cups.
very shadowy dark cloaks that seem to completely
Ominous.
cover any sort of other identifying features, wearing gloves and all that sort of stuff, and their faces are completely
Okay.
hooded. So outside of their eyes, the only thing you'd get is that there isn't much of a identifying mark of any sort on them.
Okay.
With the high perception, you could guess as well that the bag they were carrying was full of gold. That's kind of what it looked like.
Okay, so they seem just like common criminals. So
Common
Jade's
criminals,
not
yeah.
going to focus too much on it. Okay,
It is-
sweet.
One of the many encounters that you could have come upon in this section. But they seem to be like common criminals without having actually actually attacked them and disrobed
Gotcha.
their
I'll check something.
them. Then that's like as much information aesthetically as you could get. Also, Aylin, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna ask if my like passive perception would have picked up on any like iconography, like Medusa things, but
Oh, okay. No, there wouldn't have been anything like indicating that they were part of any like Medusa's cult or anything like that. Any sort of identifying mark seems to be absent from their clothing or anything like that, as far as you can tell.
Terrified of what Core might have found out just then.
Oh, he has a criminal background, so I think that's just interesting.
Oh, okay.
There are some things he
Makes
gets
sense.
from that.
Okay, that's juicy info. Whoop, my pen. All right. As you make your way, you eventually get closer and closer until you start to reach like what looks like to be the main like path leading in to the center of the city. As you walk and walk, the gravelly kind of dirt road starts to turn into a much more paved and brick-laid road heading in. The sort of paving of like the path itself seems to be like the bricks themselves are very ornate and very regal. They seem to have been carved out and designed in a very, very careful way, and there's a lot of appreciation to be had there for the level of detail to which the tiles of the footpath seem to have. As you walk forward and forward, the amount of buildings as well, the density of the structures surrounding you increases as you get to a more and more populated zone. This kind of city seems to be similar in many ways to Capital, in that like you can see that clearly you're heading through like different sectors as you're walking. You can see kind of like what looks like shops in the distance and some houses as well, maybe, and those are distinct. And it builds up as you get closer and closer, further out in these outer sections of the city. The point from which you're entering, you can see farms here and there, but as you get closer and closer into the more densely populated areas, you can see things like shops, restaurants, things like that pop up as you get closer and closer. And you get closer to these huge pillars as well. These pillars of gemstone that just reach up into the sky, looking like massive teeth, kind of reaching all into like, if you imagine like the kind of ground, you've got these sort of big chunks like poking out like this into the middle as you walk and you walk. And the first one you walk by is a very, very dull one. What was this? Sorry,
I don't know. Sorry.
Got it.
I was intrigued, and then it just became. I was like, "Oh," and then it became.
I love that. Hold on.
face compression.
Pufferfish. I'm a fugu.
But as you walk, as you pass by the first very, very large pillar of gemstone, you kind of can tell what kind of gemstone it is. It's just a generic sort of looking crystal-like structure that's just poking out of the ground. This one seems to be one of the ones that's a lot more dull, which doesn't seem to have a shimmer or a shine or like a glow to it or anything like that. It's just a sort of it's like a translucent sort of rock, the way it looks right now, shaped like a gemstone. And as you walk by it, you feel a sort of faint, sort of magical haze kind of emanating from it.
I'm scared of it though.
Scared of
But
what?
Emma is like, Emma has an idea of
Yeah.
what might happen.
Hmm?
Can Jade see any like civilians, like citizens of the Kingdom of Crystal?
Not here actually. No. As you're walking, it seems pretty desolate.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Hmm.
Empty in the sense that everybody's asleep and at home. Empty in the sense that everything's been ransacked and things have gone wrong.
Empty in the sense that it seems to be like there isn't a whole lot of activity going on, but you get the feeling that there's probably people at home. It's just that
Okay.
nobody's on this main path heading out at the moment. It seems like it's fairly quiet despite the midday time.
So that's a bit weird.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It does strike you as a bit strange.
Or maybe it's like Europe and they just all go home to have a nap at midday.
This is not Europe. Course stops, everyone.
This
Should we
is-
really be, seems a bit sus.
What do you mean?
It's just really quiet.
I think we're stealth, though.
Yeah, but where's everyone else?
I don't know.
It does seem odd to me.
We can keep a lookout.
Can I kind of check the mist stuff?
The what stuff?
The misty stuff?
What misty stuff?
Did you not say?
Oh no, the magic that kind of radiates off of the...
Yeah.
Has a sort of hazy feel, but it doesn't actually look like there's anything radiating off of it.
Okay. Can I just arcana check the general hazy magic?
Sure.
Can I just lick it? Just taste it. See what it's like.
Could you lick it?
Oh
Yeah,
no,
delectable
come
it is.
back. I'm gonna keep that though because it was a 16.
Okay.
But no, wait. I can add to that. I can add
7 for Arcana.
shh, 23. I do math.
I thought you were looking for the number, not what
No.
the.
I was doing mental math. I was like,
Alright, so as you inspect it, you do confirm that sort of suspicion, or that the theory that Avra seemed to have, that there is a sort of, from this non-glowing pillar of crystal, it seems like there isn't a whole, it's not very potent, but the faint magical feel that you get is that it is a sort of protection kind of magic. Like, it does feel like you're wearing like an amulet that would protect you from certain things, maybe. You get that sort of feel from it, but you can't tell exactly what it's boosting, if anything, but it feels good.
And turns us into.
It doesn't do anything, this one. But as you
Oh.
walk closer and closer
I'm so
to
curious.
the next pillar of crystal, which seems to be glowing.
Can I do a nature check just to see if like the magic is something that's been like enchanted or if it's something that is naturally occurring?
Okay.
Holy shit!
Is it a
It's a-
natty tree?
It's a natty 20 plus 7.
Natural 20. Okay, I think you would...
Also, a nature check on the flower
Ooh.
knights.
Yay!
I think you would pretty quickly understand what the situation is, just from the feeling of the magic, and from the feeling of the magic coming from the glowing crystal pillar far in front of you, which you can feel from this distance as well. And you get the feeling that whatever magical energy is imbued with, or was imbued within this crystal pillar, is not one that occurs naturally, but one that would have to be put into it in the same way that you might charge like a battery. That's the kind of feeling that you get with your natural 20. Like whatever magic was put into this pillar was charged into it by some sort of force. That part, even a nature check of 20, it's really hard to exactly pinpoint where on earth the magic could have possibly come from, whether it was a wizard who went, "I will charge you, my pillar," or if it was something else along those lines.
Charge
You know?
my pillar,
However,
turn them
As you
into
walk closer and closer, there is another pillar in front of you, just towering out. And this one is glowing very, very fiercely, like it has a lot of magical energy. And you feel that sort of magical field as you kind of walk closer and closer to it. That fills you with this sort of nice, sort of protective sort of magic. And as you walk, as you're looking around, surveying your surroundings, you get a look at Avarice as he turns to you with a sort of smile. And you see that for a moment, as you get closer, he sort of starts to shimmer. And he starts to look like a little bit more like Jade. Like
No, I
he's-
knew it!
like he's being turned to gemstone as he's walking by this pillar. More and more.
so absolutely nothing on Jade or Core changes.
Well, Jade, your visage would change a little bit as well. Your natural gemstone wouldn't change at all, obviously. But you immediately become a lot more vibrant and sparkly, like you're a source of light yourself. Kind of just shimmering in the light. Whereas before, Jade has a certain mystical property to it, sure. But now it's like you've got Jade sequin on you as well, And
Hey,
looking
Mama
to
Jade.
the others also seem to have that same effect happen to them as well. Where you're almost like, you can't quite
This
feel it so
isn't-
well, but you can see them turning almost to gemstone as...
Okay,
Mm.
it looks like Twilight vampire skin.
I wonder, I'm not sure what Twilight Vampire skin looks like, but maybe.
Are me and Lily leaving the campaign?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not cultured, okay? I'm being called out here.
I know.
We're watching Twilight when I come to Melbourne.
Alright, sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Yup.
I'm excited. We have to,
enjoy.
you know what we have to watch? We have to watch Treasure Planet too.
That's true.
I love that.
I haven't seen it in forever, and I had like as a movie night idea.
I based also partially off Jim.
Yeah! Okay, that's gonna be good. We're gonna watch that definitely.
Yeah.
But alright, you feel that sort of... You feel the magical effect of what's happening inside of you, but not so much the physical change that you seem to undergo as you walk by it. Now, as you walk by, you get the feeling that like it's sort of an aesthetic, cosmetic change. But
Still
then,
maintain Core barely changes.
you do feel like there is a bit of a boost of energy as you walk by. And effectively what this will mean is that in this current state, you will gain an advantage on all saving throws while you're
Ooh.
under the effect of this. And that's it at the moment.
Ooh. Okay.
Being sparkly is an advantage.
And you shimmer. And you walk by the pillar.
agree.
And Avra smiles at the rest of you. What did I tell you?
Don't think that you understand me better just because you walk in my skin now.
I don't think that at all, necessarily. Didn't think that at all. But this is quite neat, I have to say. Am I not right? Tomorrow looks
Yeah, but you're like an average level of sparkly, whereas Jade is like a whole new world of sparkly right now.
Nothing feels that different to me. This is just kind of on a sunny day up on the top of a mountain. This is pretty.
Well,
I mean,
actually,
it's a little bit more core inspired.
as you say that, Avros looks at his hand and wiggles his fingers a little bit. There is a bit of a difference, though. I think the fact that... Well, how should I put this?
They're like sequins, whereas we're like glimmering pools.
It's certainly true. I'm a bit concerned, though, because there is... Well, this is quite impressive, I think, and it's still a nice surprise. This is not the full extent of the effect. As in, there is a bit of the appearance happening here, but this aesthetic change from my memory is meant to go a lot further than this. And I don't feel quite the same energy as when I did last time I was traveling here. Quite a while ago, admittedly, but the magical effect that it would have had would have been much more powerful, that makes sense.
Not as strong, because not all the pillars are lit.
That's what I think. Nowhere near as strong, actually. And I've got this sort of shimmering coat that's made me look a little bit more gemstone-y. But from my understanding is that the magical effect is meant to be much more potent and, visceral than that.
So you think someone's sapping the pillars of power?
Well, the pillars have a source of power, which I'm now not so sure is intact, but we'll see if we keep heading on this trajectory. And he keeps walking forward towards what looks to be the center of the city. And as you walk, you do as you walk further away from this giant pillar that is shining and glimmering, that effect starts to fade off. And the advantage is no longer there anymore. So you will now no longer have advantage on saving throws.
Well, how does it feel not to be sparkly, guys?
I just have a question.
Yes.
How do Drini's flowers react, since they are...
They are now your scribbles.
Your hair and everything would remain the same. It's just like your skin itself would have been kind of affected by this shimmering effect. Although, when Avro says that the effect isn't as intense as he thought, you might get a feeling that he might be thinking that a little bit more than just your skin tone would have changed to that of a gemstone kind of effect, I guess. But what exactly he's alluding to, it's hard to exactly say without really directly questioning him. But he walks, and you follow as you take in your surroundings, and you do eventually see, as you get closer and closer, or you get further and further into the city, looking at these pillars on all sides in the distance, kind of all arcing into the center of the city. They all seem to be kind of like poking out of the ground and then like curving or curling into the middle of where you think the center of the city might be. As you walk, you eventually start seeing people around, a lot less people around like the sort of edges of the city where more homes and stuff like that would have been, it would have been more sprawled out. But as you get into a sort of closer to the center kind of area, you start seeing that where you're coming from, which is from this direction, it means that you would see that kind of surrounding you are more like market type stalls and shops and restaurants and buildings like that, of which are a lot of which are closed at the moment. But there are a few open ones that you can see, but it seems like a suspicious amount of these places are closed right now. Not like boarded shut or anything like that, but just closed and not open. And Avro seems to be looking around with a sort of gaze that seems to indicate to you that this is a strange sight to behold. He seems to be somewhat unsettled. Now, for the rest of you who haven't been here, this is sort of new information regardless of what you get, but Avros' reaction to that will tell you that at least this situation seems to be abnormal given these circumstances. And you walk closer and closer. Yes?
Do we see any, plant life around us?
You do. You see, the sort of, off the path, because you guys are currently walking on what's it's not quite a cobblestone path, but a sort of the yellow brick road in the Wizard of Oz kind of thing. It's like that, yeah. But they're not yellow bricks. They're more like these sort of pastel-y pearl colors that have these intricate designs kind of engraved into them. So you're walking along a sort of path, but off the side of that path, there's grass that's been kind of kept very neat and that sort of thing, like golf turf almost, with little flowers here and there. But
litter on that, Avros.
And you see,
but is it in the city where we're walking? Is basically. is it like the grass within the city?
Yeah, it's just like off the path.
Okay.
It'd be like if you just had a lot of paved roads. Kind of like if you go to the city or city areas, there's a lot of like paved roads and stuff like that, and you do have like grass here and there, but they're usually like in these small kind of squared off patches. And that's, yeah. So that's the kind of vibe that you get from walking around this sort of place. And you do see these sort of spindly trees, what look like trees, that don't seem to have any leaves on them. They're just sort of trees, or like the wood of the tree that's kind of sprawl out into where the canopy would be, but you don't see any leaves on them. But they don't look dead. Kind of a bit of a strange sight. As you walk, you see more plant life that's kind of like that. You see like shrubs, or what looks like they should be shrubs, that are just the little, like the wooden root parts that would sprawl out into all the leafy sort of foliage that you would normally see in a shrub, but all the leafy foliage is gone. Yet the shrub looks like it's alive.
Okay.
So, yes.
Jade has something he wants to do if once Treaty's finished looking at the plant.
Drady was going to talk to the plants. That was where this was going.
Okay, Treaty. Okay.
But Jade has seen Drady do this before, so if there's something that he wants to do, or like,
Jade was just going to look for a signs of life, as in like people he can speak to.
Yeah, there are people like walking around kind of, and you see there's a lot of like elven folk that are living in the city. You don't see any sign of sorry, say again.
Elves.
Yeah, elven people with their long spindly ears walking around looking very posh and very well educated. They're looking very, very posh. They're walking around. You can see them in the distance, just further ahead. Haven't noticed your presence where you are.
Upstairs just got a little bit sad that Cork was like scathing towards Mel.
Court is just like grumbling and being a bit bitchy about the elves to Tamar, whilst Jade and Treaty are doing useful things.
But you do see sort of, it's mostly elven folk, but you do see like slightly shorter, more stout elf with shorter ears and a greener skin tone kind of thing. And you see also people who look a little bit less elven, shorter ears, but again that same sort of look there, a little bit shorter. Elves in general are very tall and very long and very elegant when they walk. But you get the idea that there's probably some other non-elven folk as well, kind of walking around, but just looking in general, that's the kind of vibe that you get.
Then Jade will let Dreety go first.
Alright, Rodri, you are...
Whilst Dreety is doing this, he will go and talk to him.
Alright, sweet, we'll do Rodri's plant interview first, and then we'll go over to Jade's interrogation of the local folk.
Just before we do, I will probably have to log off at 11:20, which is in half an hour, but that should be enough time.
Well, I think that this session will probably wrap up in like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, because we're close to where I think we will end.
Oh, good.
So, whoa, my pen, Rodri.
I think if like having the information that we see people around, I think she probably wouldn't.
Okay.
Just that, like, when things seemed a little bit too quiet, that was her first inclination, was to talk to some plants, ask what's going on, what's been happening in the past 10 days. But,
Okay. Well, actually, if you're looking around and you see people in the distance, I will instead, in that case, get you to roll for me a perception check as you're noticing the individuals further away, before we get to Jade's interrogation of a local individual.
Okay. That is a 13 plus 8, so 21.
21? Okay. There is something that you do see further ahead, closer to the, further along the path towards the center of the city. You do see that there are some plants that match the ones you've seen before, like a tree and a shrub and stuff like that, that are closer to one of these much more potent pillars that are glowing with magical energy, seemingly infused into it. And you see the plants nearby there, few of them seem to have what look like gemstone leaves kind of hanging off some of the branches, but they're very, very sparse, and it doesn't look like there's that many of them. And they seem to glow a similar shade of this kind of these sort of colors that the gemstones emit, these sort of greens and blues and purples and reds, these intense sort of colors. You see that the leaves kind of mimic those colors near the pillars, but there aren't that many of them, which seems to also maybe indicate that whatever intensity of magic that these pillars are putting out currently is far weaker than what might be the norm.
Okay.
And with that information, Jade, you are interrogating an individual.
Yes.
So, well, how would you like to do this?
Jade is.
How would you like to proceed?
First of all, Jade is, as everyone knows, not charismatic. So, he will just stand in the middle of the crowd and be like, "Excuse me."
What
Excuse me.
language are you saying this in?
I will try everyone that I know, which is Common, Primordial, and Sylvan. Probably maxing out on the Sylvan because of the elves.
Okay, as you sort of try your other languages, it doesn't seem like you get much of a response other than people kind of looking at you with puzzled looks.
Excuse me.
Somebody walks by and...
Excuse me. Excuse me.
And you tried in Sylvan, and somebody stops by. Oh! My goodness, you speak Sylvan. Hello. A very
would make you
tall,
believe that I-
elderly-looking female elf stops by your side as she sees that you're...
What would make you believe I don't speak Sylvan?
Oh, I wasn't expecting it necessarily. You don't have the ears of a Sylvan speaker. But that is...
I'm... Okay.
What?
Hello.
Hello. Is there anything I can help you with?
Yes. Gems.
Yes,
They're very dull here.
they are.
We didn't turn into crystals. You guys were all not here for a long time.
Yes,
And also there are crystal trees which aren't very crystally anymore.
that is true. Are you perhaps a traveler from afar who has not yet been in this city, my dear?
I'm quite literally a far traveller. My accent, mannerisms, and figures of speech, and perhaps even my appearance, might mark me as foreign. So if any curious glances are directed my way, that could be a nuisance for me. But I also know that I gain the friendly interest of scholars and others who are intrigued by those from far-off lands. And that's not to say anything of everyday folk who are also eager to hear stories of my homeland.
Well,
Cora's just watching this all unfold, like,
I'm indeed intrigued in your presence here. We don't...
Well, perhaps we can parley, and mayhaps you can grant me some access to places I might not otherwise have.
You can put the cue card away. It's okay. I can tell you a little bit about... Oh,
Okay.
oh, that's adorable. Are these your friends here as well? And for those of you looking on, you'll see that Jade is talking to a very tall, very elderly female elf.
These are my two partners, and the person examining the trees is Driti, and the person eating cake is Avros,
he was also an elf.
who is also an elf.
Nice to meet you. And Avarice looks at them. Nice to make your acquaintance very briefly, but I will not be sticking around for all that much longer. I will be heading off shortly. But these are my friends. And he looks at the rest of you. Tamara looks like stunned, like he doesn't know what to say.
Oh, he doesn't speak Sylvan or Elvish.
Yeah.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
It's very selfish of you.
I just realized I am a female elf who sounds a little bit like a female elf Tamar, but I do not unfortunately speak any common. It is not a language I
The
know.
elves are very insular.
I
That
can
is certainly true.
translate for you.
Okay. In that case, I can give you the story of what has happened and why there are not that many people here, and it is a short one. Follow me. And at this point, you are close to the center, and she guides you to the center of the city, where these marketplaces and stuff start to build up. You see like a lot more touristy sort of stuff being sold at these sort of places. A lot of these stores are shut down, but a few of them are still open. Food stalls, all that sort of stuff. Party gear, all that kind of stuff. Everything you could imagine as you get to the center of this city. There's a lot of equipment lying around. As you walk into the center, you see that there's this now, the density of the buildings around you suddenly stops and gives way to this big, open, sort of paved area. Intricate fountains and stuff. Small, but decorative. Leading towards the very, very middle of this area. It's a lot more grassy and a lot less paved, up to a sort of podium in the very, very center of this entire city. And that podium, made entirely out of some sort of crystal stone-like thing, looks like it should house something. But the pedestal itself is completely empty. There's nothing there. It's just a pedestal with a thing atop it. And looking up from here, you can see that a lot of the points of these big pillars that kind of lean into the center of the city all kind of stop and meet at the very middle, leaving a small sort of gap that you can kind of, well, you can see everywhere into the sky. They're not like, it's not dome covered everything, but you can see that there's like a small gap above where the pedestal is on the ground. And she
Are
turns
you missing a crystal?
We're missing a crystal heart. It's a big gemstone, and that is what has powered this city and protected its people for a long time. I don't know if you've yet experienced the magical effects of any of the remaining crystal structures that still have a little bit of magic seeping out of them. But that is a sort of protective magic which keeps us all, well, alive in a sort of way. Here, at least, we get an extra dose of longevity from that sort of magic, and a sort of protective magic as well.
Don't need more longevity.
Avros looks at you. You'd be surprised at how many elves who already live a long time strive for even more longevity. It's something...
You guys are just selfish. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yes, there is a sort of discussion to be had about the greed associated with the amount of years one can endure and live for and collect. And this city certainly provides that sort of for people. But at the same time, it protects us from things like illnesses and ailments. And with that protective magic gone, we're no longer, well, shielded from the elements in the same way. We are much more exposed.
Doesn't that mean you can never leave?
It does, in a sense, mean that. It's not that
That sounds like a mortality problem, not our problem.
Well,
I mean, if you left these confines, you would be exposed to all kinds of natural diseases which you've neglected to develop natural antibodies to.
Exactly.
Elves.
You understand very well. And that is a big reason why we have such a, I guess, protective community here. We've, in a way, dug our own grave, so to speak. Especially if you leave the confines after a certain point in your life, your longevity is at risk. You know.
Yikes.
She looks at you, Verdridi, as you raise your hand.
Oh, that's not Trudy raising her hand. That's me raising my hand.
Hey, look. Hello.
I have a question. In the scrying of the place that I was looking at before, where I saw Ilaria at, do I remember seeing any sort of crystal, large crystal, that would have fit in this pedestal?
Nope. Not even remotely similar.
Okay.
Cool.
But I'm
Is
glad
there an
you asked.
archive here, there?
Say again.
Is there an archive here?
There is an archive. It's that way, if you'd like to go. If you head along this path, and she points down another extremely long path heading down to some other place in the city, you will find the archive at the end there.
That's where our trap is.
I don't know about a trap. If you'd like me to accompany you, I can help. Regardless, what happened here is that the crystal heart disappeared. Somebody must have stolen it. It's what we think. And as a result, we sent out large groups, expeditions, to attempt to discover the location of this lost crystal heart. We have ideas about where it might be, but we are not concretely sure. Or at least that's what we, the public, know about that sort of thing. Unlike... And she looks at the rest of you, and she looks at Avarice in particular. Unlike in Capital, which is, I'm guessing, where at least you are from, she looks at Avarice, and he kind of nods like, yeah, I'm from there. We do not have a king or a queen or anything like that ruling over our people. This is a much more communal place. Yes.
Sorry, is there just to get more feedback on this pedestal?
Yep.
Can Drudy do an investigation check? See if maybe it looks like it might be a certain number of sides kind of gem.
Ooh, smart.
You can. Your investigation roll. Roll for me an investigation check if you're looking at this pedestal.
Nice. That is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20? You do see something that seems like, with your investigation, could be of some sort of symbolic significance, or maybe potentially a coincidence. Being cut from gemstone, you can clearly see that this thing does have a number of sides and is not perfectly, like, circular or something. Whereas the gemstone pillars that are around are a lot more, like, natural. They look like they're just, like, you know, they just kind of sprung out from the ground. They haven't been carved, necessarily. But this pedestal clearly has. And it does have, in fact, when you count it, 12 sides.
Ah! Okay.
But outside of that, it looks like a normal pedestal. In the same way that you might see like a Greek column with those like sort of like sides going around it.
Outside of the fact that there's a detail pertinent to our mission, it's
Yeah.
normal and insignificant.
Outside of this extremely important pertinent detail, it's perfectly ordinary.
Yeah, Rudy is going to point out the 12-sided nature of it, since I think that's the stone that Bronze was obsessed with.
Whoops.
Jade just is quiet. As
Does that
usual.
mean Bronze, like, yoinked it?
I wouldn't put it past.
I mean, that's even more selfish than the elves, and that takes a lot for me to say.
I don't know. I think I agree. I'm confused. Why would he want to know?
I feel like there's... Tamar speaks up for a moment. I feel like there's something is incongruent about what we've thought about Bronze's situation. And this potentially being the place where the 12-sided stone has been residing. Especially given that... Well... that book that you have, Jade. How did the riddle in that book go again? Or the poem, or whatever it was, I can't remember exactly.
Where is my notebook?
I will also look to see if I have it written down here somewhere.
Okay.
I have it as well, okay.
It goes like this. Thomas Onigashima.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Onigashima.
So,
I'm sorry. I can't. It's a thick book. Everything's falling down.
I just happened to flip to it by chance. But okay, so the tale goes, that's written in the book, to find the stone of 12 in face, the truest sadness you must embrace. Let go of that which you most love, to take the first step, then gaze above. If you do not heed this only cost, then wander aimlessly, forever lost. Tamar thinks about that for a moment. If he sacrificed you to go seek this...
Shut up, please.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
No, I'm sorry.
That's fine. What are you thinking? What are you feeling, Jade?
We focus on Alaria.
I think we should investigate this as well, though.
Alaria first.
Okay. Arya, I
if
think.
we want to get the stone, does that mean we have to sacrifice stuff, or is this just a Bronze specific thing?
And then Drudy kind of like holds up her like bracer, which has the D8 attached to it. Does it point any direction?
Okay, hold on, let me orient myself. Which direction would it point? Okay. It would... Hold on, I need to check a note very quickly. This is an interesting question. Because I know of... one thing this would... It would... I think it would just be spinning. I don't think it would actually point to a direction.
Ooh, interesting.
And you know that it points to whatever... You could check that somehow to figure out what that could insinuate, or what the implication is there. But it seems like there isn't a stone on this plane in a location that seems to fit the requirements of this stone to point to it. It's for the best way I can put it, because you guys have 3 of the stones.
We do. That's...
Then it would just be
Yeah,
spinning. It doesn't look like it's pointing in any
messing things
specific
up.
direction. It's not pointing at the pedestal or anything like that. It's just kind of aimlessly kind of spinning like it's being suspended in air. And not being attracted to any direction.
Do I still have Unicornelius?
Yes.
He's just been really silent this whole time.
He doesn't transform unless you command him to. He's like your servant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's like he's your steed, in a way.
I would like to transform Unicornelius out.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Unicornelius. How can I be of help?
I just thought it'd be funny.
Hello. He looks around, and he looks at the others. Hold on, let me check something. He takes it to surround it. The old elven lady's taking it back for a moment. And then he thinks for a moment.
My unicorn.
Hello, he says in Sylvan. And then she's taking it back. Oh my goodness. What? Who is this?
It's a unicorn.
I know who unicorn it is! It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Hello. My dearest master. He bows to you, Cora. How may I be of service today?
That's how I like to be addressed. Entertain me.
Entertain you? Okay, what would you like to see today? I can
What
do
kind
a
of
backflip
highlights
for you!
is-
And he
yeah,
just
you-
runs in the air and because it does a big loop. Whoa!
That'll do.
Okay.
I can do that. It's not that impressive.
He looks at
Jake
you.
is a
jealous of the unicorn.
Jay just does a quick backflip, couple of stretches.
My! Join me in tandem! Let's do backflips together! And he begins to flip around with you.
You'll
Jade?
fly away, and Jade will catch his tail just to like bring him back like a helium balloon.
Yeah, he's like a helium balloon. I think that's a great way of putting it. Ooh, you've grounded me. Thank you. My dear masters. How may I be of service?
Yeah, we might need you later.
I understand. Shall I go back to my cage?
No, you can stay out.
I will remain here in that case. It is such a nice day to be outside of that zone. The fresh air.
I'm concerned for his mental state.
Tamara looks at you, Cora. He scares me just a little bit.
I think he's cute.
Thank you.
Not in that way.
He scares me a lot. That's
I-
Emma talking.
He scares me too, and that's the DM talking. I will, in that case, trot around this general area to make sure there are no nuisances or
Try and knock
enemies.
over some elves as you go.
I will do my best. Harumph! And he begins to walk around. And you see an elf like walking around, and you see Cornelius stop and attempt to charge that elf in the distance. And the elf begins to run. Come here! Come here!
Cora is delighted.
You hear from a distance, I wish to charge you too! And you hear just a general panic. And as you're here listening to the spiel that this local is giving you about the Crystal Heart and how it's been, how it disappeared a short while ago and how there are now missions to go out and find and recover this Crystal Heart, you gain more of an understanding of the situation here at the Kingdom of Crystal. And as you begin to work out amongst yourselves what your trajectory will be from this point, I think this will be a good point to end the session. Thank you very much for playing today. Grant, you made it! You made it to the place! Let's go! Kingdom of Crystal! Woo!
And now we level up, yeah?
No, we leveled like last session, though. Level every sesh! Let's go, level 50! But yeah, it's gonna be... I'm excited to see where you all, snowball from here. It's gonna be interesting.
Snowball.
Pardon me. That was
Catapult,
a
maybe.
burp of excitement.
Oh, Thomas.
I don't know. Let's pretend I didn't say that. I would like to redact that statement from earlier.
Uh-huh.
But that was a chaotic session, especially everything that happened with like Avarice and stuff. Oh my god.
The highlight was the scaly dominatrix.
Scaly dominatrix.
Knew it.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I wouldn't have thought.
I could have guessed it's you.
It's you. It was you.
It's you, Thomas.
It's the Spider-Man meme. No, it's Avarice. It's not me. I didn't do this. What are you talking about?
Avros is the most close to your personality.
I wonder. In some ways. I would...
Emma's horror.
You can't say he's close to my personality just because he may be a scaly, okay? This is not fair. This is slander. I will have you know. I would like
I
to...
thought you were furry.
I might be, okay? But still, regardless, this is something.
Thomas is getting bold, guys.
He's getting... Don't look at that pillar on my bed, okay? That's nothing. That's just a lump under the sheets, alright? We don't have to talk about that.
Wait, did you receive
Receive what?
the commission?
The big pillar? No, it's still on its way. It's being sent.
Okay.
That is on the way. That's going to be fun for anybody watching his stream to see that when that happens. But no, I mean that thing. That pillar over there. that I don't know how many of you have seen that. Stream has seen it. And
Erotic pony body pillow.
it's not erotic. It's wholesome, kind of.
Should we end the stream there?
And what a better note to end on than that one. Okay, I will end the stream here. Thank you to all of you lovely players for playing. Lots of love. Thank you for making it to the session. I always appreciate the effort that you guys put in to make it to the sessions. I really love you guys. You make my heart warm. And to everybody who watched as well. Thank you. And we'll be back next week. Well, tomorrow for Disappointment Crew, next week for Disappointment Crew, and then the week after that for Shiny Boys and Disappointment Crew. So stay tuned for more D&D content. If you like this, be sure to stay tuned. And I'll catch you all later. Bye.
Bye bye. Woo!